And here we go from XL Energy Center in St. Paul. Welcome. Wild in red, Oilers in white. The Brodziak line starting for Minnesota, and that is Kyle Brodziak flipping it out to center. Sunday for Edmonton back. Northwest Division battle, the Wild and Oilers. Loose puck knocked down by Brodziak, now to Clutterbuck on the wing. He'll fire one, he misses the goal, hits the glass behind the goaltender. Knocked down by Schultz in the high slot, cleared back out off the boards through the neutral zone, and Nick Schultz heading back to scoop it up.
Well, as we said in our game plan, the first 10 minutes, very crucial here for both teams, but Minnesota Wild clearly want to get something going, put it into the Oilers' heads that, no, you're not going to break the string here tonight. The string, of course, we're talking about the 16-0 the Wild have rattled off in this building against the Oilers since 2007. Let's look at the goaltenders.
Brought to you by, of course, Northland Ford.
And Nikolai Habibulin gets the start. And he is a very active goaltender. Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning years ago and trying to get back to that form. And speaking of good form, Nicklas Backstrom has it this season. It's just hard not to play him right now. He's playing so well, and even though the Wild want to get Josh Harding some minutes here, heads that, no, you're not going to break the string here tonight. The string, of course, we're talking about the 16-0 the Wild have rattled off in this building against the Oilers since 2007. Let's look at the goaltenders.
Brought to you by, of course, Northland Ford.
And Nikolai Habibulin gets the start. And he is a very active goaltender. Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning years ago and trying to get back to that form. And speaking of good form, Nicklas Backstrom has it this season. It's just hard not to play him right now. He's playing so well, and even though the Wild want to get Josh Harding.
That puck hits the netting in the corner of the Minnesota zone, and that'll slow things down. There's Mr. Harding.
You know, Josh Harding, he was deemed 99% healthy by Mike Yeo against the Ottawa Senators, even though Nicklas Backstrom got the start. I think he's probably pretty close to 100% now. Yeah. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's just waiting for that opportunity. But, you know, Josh Harding did not play a minute of regular season last year, and so I'm sure he's used to the waiting game. And when he has come in, he has played well for the Wild. Had a very good training camp and played very well in the preseason games that he played.
Wild send it into the Oiler end of the rink. Cullen's line is out there now with Bouchard and Guillaume Latendresse. That's Bouchard. Back now for Stoner, who's playing with Zanin right now as a defensive pair. We'll see how long that lasts. See if they shake things up a little bit. Scandella hops the boards. He's out there now with the puck with Zanin. Ahead now to Bouchard at center. Redirects the puck into the Edmonton zone. In on goal. Habibulin leaves it behind the goal. Knocked away from Petrie. Up along the boards. Now Ryan Smith coming back. Coming back is what he did to Edmonton. His second round with the Oilers. To center. In across the line. Hemsky stops. Looks. Fires. And it goes just...
Oh, you just ride him.
AT&T is a proud sponsor of the Bruins on Nesson. From uploads to downloads, watching online videos, to surfing the web, now you can experience the meaning of the word speed. AT&T, get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. The guy on that icing touch-up, Cam Barker, was the number 3 pick in the 2004 draft. Speaking of the word speed, AT&T video. AT&T is faster with 4G. Rethink possible. The guy on that icing touch-up, Cam Barker, was the number 3 pick in the 2004 draft.
That's Bouchard. Back now for Stoner, who's playing with Zanin right now as a defense. Bouchard at center. Knocked away from Edmonton. Here's the captain. He's on goal. Ahead now to Bouchard. Stoner, who's
2 minutes 27. 2 minutes 57.
With a stick. Now reaching, trying to gain control. Cannot. Held it up. Who banks the puck out to center. Guillaume Latendresse heads to the Minnesota bench to change on the go. Hemsky down low. All the way around. Hemsky dumps it to the corner. Waiting there is Hall. Taylor Hall centers in front. Shot. Great save by Backstrom. A big save early on. And then it's cleared from the front of the goal by Scandella.
Well, a lot of skilled players out there. You got 2 first overall picks over the last 2 years, and then Elias Hemsky. That's a pretty good trio, and they combined for some very nice passing and a beautiful shot. But As we talked about, Nicklas Backstrom has been so much on his game that he read that very well. That was a one-timer from below the hash marks.
Wild come into the game 1-1-1 on the early season. Coming in off that 4-3 shootout loss Tuesday at Ottawa. This is Powell in the offensive zone. Ballmer going back. Ballmer muscled off by Peckham. And then the play finished by a hit along the wall by Brad Staubitz. Centered right in front, and Jones in front. Tried to direct that one past Backstrom. He couldn't do it. Ballmer got the puck out, took a hit from Schmid there. Loose puck to Horkoff out in the neutral zone. Oilers on the offensive charge now on the right wing side. Stopping in the corner was Payarvi. Sends it down low, stolen away. This is only the second game of the season for the Oilers. They played Sunday. They got a 2-1 win at home in a shootout against Pittsburgh.
Some teams have already played 4 games. This is the Wild's 4th game themselves. But the Wild can take advantage of that fact.
Hordichuk banks it off the board. One-timer from the point. Changed direction a couple of times in front of Backstrom, and the Wild will break it out. Pushing it ahead is Cal Clutterbuck. He'll chase it down. Cam Barker, the former Wild defenseman, ties up there with Clutterbuck. Comes free along the boards. Gillies knocks it back in low. Barker sends it around to the near side.
Well, the Wild finally getting their forecheck going here. Until now, it was pretty much the Oilers driving into the offensive zone, but the Wild finally were able to get the puck in deep, like Wes Wallace talked about in our pregame show, and got some good puck placement there, and that's why they were able to cycle.
Brodziak to center, tipped ahead by Gillies. Gloved and knocked down, controlled by Eric Belanger, of course, another former member of the Minnesota Wild. Tom Gilbert didn't play for the Wild, but he's from Minnesota. Bouncing puck into the Edmonton zone. Loose puck, Latendresse has that poke checked away. Eberle now with a quick drop pass, and the puck is bumped ahead into the Minnesota zone. Good pace early in this game from St. Paul. Johnson, or Smith that is, back along the boards, lost control, picked up by Latendresse. Gilbert had it, he lost it. Latendresse can't get it. Bouchard carries in, and they're going to say Cullen did not get out of the zone quickly enough.
You know, Edmonton wants to get off the schneid in terms of winning hockey games in this building, and they do so with a good one-timer there by Gilbert, and then Jones with a tip over the net, and then another deflection in front. So the Oilers are getting some early chances, but it's not easy to score on that man. He has been good. Great rebound control so far this season by Nicklas Backstrom. His save percentage around 92. And he made 41 saves in the shootout loss in Ottawa, so he's getting to see a lot.
Backhander goes wide in front of the Minnesota goal. That was Taylor Hall showing his speed as he got behind the Minnesota defense. And you'll see a lot of speed out there with this line. Dembski down low. Hall centers. Goes right through the crease. Koivu can't clear it out. Heatley trying to gain control off of Nugent Hopkins. They now cleared all the way down. But an icing call coming up as Theo Peckham gets back to touch up for the Edmonton Oilers. Let's light the lamp, see who's going to score. And I had first overall pick. Danny Heatley was an easy choice for me. The top line basically goes 1, 2, 3. Latendresse a good choice for the way he's been playing. Nicklas Backstrom, Dan, that's a great pick for being last in the rotation, because Backstrom's numbers against the Oilers are phenomenal. And Bouchard back in the lineup after a 2-game suspension, and the fans chose him, and again, another good choice. There were a lot of good choices to be made tonight. Every game there seems to be. Obviously, you got a good top 6 now with the Wild and a good goaltender, so I think everybody pretty much has an opportunity to get some points every single game. Stoner heading back in the Minnesota zone. Payarvi coming up behind him, but he just pushes it off the boards and out to neutral ice. Clayton Stoner again. Around for the wall, and Staubitz taps it all the way down. Ballmer coming down and slows down, doesn't make it for icing. Good hustle by the rookie, Brett Ballmer. Ballmer around behind. Ballmer puts it in front. Off the paddle. Still loose. Now slides towards the corner. Even though the goaltender had shut down that short side, that's a great idea by Ballmer. You get good rebounds that way. Create some havoc in front. Staubitz battling in the corner. Couldn't get the puck through to the goal. Out to the point for Zanin. Towards the goal. Tipped out in the high slot by Ballmer. Now Staubitz in the corner. And they're going to say Ballmer played that with a high stick. That'll bring a whistle and a stoppage of play. No score yet.
And the Wild fans, the best hockey video game is in stores right now. It's EA Sports NHL 12. You can lace up the skates and score goals just like the pros. Which brings us to our EA NHL 12 spotlight of the Edmonton Oilers just over 3 months ago right here in St. Paul. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was the #1 overall pick of the Oilers in the 2011 NHL entry draft. He joins the 2010 #1 overall pick, Taylor Hall, to form quite a dynamic duo of teenagers. Nugent-Hopkins got a goal in his very first game last weekend, while Hall notched 20.
But right now, the
opportunities.
You can lock that down a little bit by good positioning defensively, but right now the kids are going for a little bit of pond hockey out there, and it's working. I mean, they have such good vision for the ice, and they're not intimidated. They know how good they are, and they're taking advantage of it right now with some good plays.
And here's Nugent-Hopkins behind the Minnesota goal. Henske's out front, now to the corner. Taylor Hall is waiting. Taylor Hall sent it back to the point, but Gilbert had sucked over into the middle of the rink, and he was not there. The puck goes all the way back into the Edmonton zone. Big Andy Sutton pushed off the play. Comes through to Hensky, out to center ice. Nugent-Hopkins to the Minnesota line. Spurgeon turns him back. Jared Spurgeon, an Edmonton native, playing against his hometown team. Koivu with a check in the corner.
And that was a big hit on Hall, and we talked about the kids running around a little bit, making passes. If you flatten them against the boards a few times, they're going to think twice about dipsy-doodling around you, and that's a smart play by the captain for the Wild.
Boy, do they buzz around with that puck when they get in the offensive zone, though.
You make them pick up their head a few more times, and they're not going to be buzzing so much. And that's how you slow down young, talented kids.
Ryan Smith sends it rink wide. Ryan Smith, of course, signing to come back to Edmonton in the offseason. Bumped in deep. Backstrom stops it, gives it to Nick Schultz. Schultz rings it around. Took an odd hop off the glass right out to center ice. Petrie has it. Rotates it across. Back for Petrie from Barker, and across the line is Belanger. Soft shot, rebound, bounces just wide of the goal. Good play by Belanger just to get it to the goal, and the rebound ends up just missing the Minnesota cage. Across the line, Gillies has his shot go off. Petrie off the boards behind. Clutterbuck comes in with a big hit on Smith. Dump back behind to the near corner now in the Edmonton zone. In comes Gillies trying to finish a check. At center, Stoner. Look to dump it in. Now rotates it right. Zanin is there. Zanin sends it around. Javi Bulin leaves it back behind there. 4 shots to 2 favoring the Oilers so far in this game.
Game 4.
Zanin quickly towards the goal. A bouncing puck is flipped just wide of the cage. Latendresse and Bouchard in the corner. Bouchard dumped it back into the corner. Nobody was there. Payarvi was there, and he carries to center and dumps it in for the Oilers. He's run into the wall after dumping it in by Latendresse. Guillaume Latendresse had a good, strong, physical game. A couple of them on the road. Tom Gilbert, the Bloomington native, back, and he'll touch this one up for an icing call.
Well, Ryan Smith, his name is synonymous with the Edmonton Oilers. Well, it was for a while, and he just missed an opportunity here. He is back with the Oilers. Actually, the last time the Oilers won a game in this building, Ryan Smith was with the Oilers. But in between then, he's played for the Islanders, a couple years for Colorado, and another couple with the Los Angeles Kings. A very heartfelt return, though. The fans definitely recognizing what he did for the Oilers for so many years, and now I think maybe wants to finish his career there, and that seems very fitting.
Well, they needed some veterans to balance off all the kids running around out there.
Hey, someone has to babysit.
This is the Stanley Cup.
Deflected up and out of play into the stands here in St. Paul. Scoreless so far here in St. Paul. Let's get to that Toyota key stack.
Well, younger generation would call the numbers on your right there. They would just say they're set. And I agree with them. I mean, the Wild have dominated the Oilers here in this building, although they've won 7 straight overall against the Oilers in the regular season. The 16 in a row here in this building over the last few years is quite amazing. Backstrom with some phenomenal numbers, and the Wild haven't just squeaked out a few of those wins and shootouts. They've actually dominated most of the games. Not so in this one right here. The Oilers coming out with a pretty good start in the first half of the first period.
Setaguchi all the way around. Setaguchi with a shot, and may have hit Khabibulin or the side of the goal. Heatley battling behind. Heatley towards Koivu. Hall tips it away. Hall has it poked away by Koivu. Now Heatley on the puck. Wrapped up along the boards by Sutton. Big Andy Sutton, 6'6", wraps around Heatley. Just held in at the point by Spurgeon. Towards the goal. Chipped away. And now controlled by Koivu. You've got the young line out there, Hemsky and the two teenagers out there against the Koivu line. And Mike, it appeared to be a bit of a mismatch.
Well, you know what? The Wild should be able to take advantage of the youngsters, but yeah, the mismatch might have been the other way early. Those young kids flying around. I think the Wild got caught watching a little bit too much at all that speed, and they need to start stepping in front of people, filling the lanes, and then starting to transition the puck up the ice. But I think once that Heatley line and with Koivu and Setoguchi gets rolling and gets playing their game plan, there's not going to be too much problem with trying to counter some of that talent. We were curious as to what kind of defensive pairing we would see up against that top line. So far, it's been Sutton and Gilbert matching up against that line, so we'll keep an eye on that. But I think you're going to see that fairly consistently this evening.
Tipped off the stick of 21-year-old Jordan Eberle. He'll fire a shot on goal, and it goes into Backstrom, and there's no rebound off Nick Backstrom. Well, this week it's a doubleheader on Fox NFL. Sunday beginning with the St. Louis Rams heading into Green Bay to take on the unbeaten Packers. Then in America's Game of the Week, Tony Romo and the Cowboys head to New England to take on Tom Brady and the Patriots. Coverage begins this week with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show at 11 a.m. Check your local listings for games in your area.
How much couch time are you putting in on that day?
That could be a little bit there. Well earned, by the way. Loose puck, and that squirted underneath. Backstrom goes to the back wall, and then Speed hustles up to keep it in and dumps it back into the corner. Ryan Smith ties up Zhidlitsky on the back wall. In comes Schultz. So a little switch up in the defensive pairings in this game so far as Belanger's shot is tipped and then redirected in by Ryan Smith. It's 1-0 Oilers. Switch up in the deep. Zhidlitsky on the back wall. In comes Schultz. So a little switch ties up Zhidlitsky on the back wall. In comes Schultz. So a little switch up in the defensive pairings in this game so far as Belanger's shot is tipped. Ryan Smith wall, and then Speed hustles up to keep it in and dumps it back into the corner. Ryan Smith ties up Zhidlitsky on the back wall. In comes Schultz. So a little switch up in the defensive pairings in this game so far as Belanger's shot is tipped and then redirected in by...
To be a part of some extra him off the pipe and in, nice, and you also
about the team
where he's going to go. It's general.
Didn't get through. Long pass at center. Goes off the stick of Payarvi. And here come the Wild back. Pushed ahead to the near wall and then hit there is Clutterbuck. Comes loose. Jones has it. Jones clears it out to center. That got by everybody, and Backstrom will play it back to the other end. Backstrom behind the goal. Stoner up the middle. Puts it on the tape of the stick to the left wing side, and that's Clutterbuck who just dumps it in. He splits back to the Minnesota bench for a change on the fly. Oilers with 8 shots, 1 goal. Wild 3 shots, still looking to get one past Khabibulin. Spurgeon heading back. Spurgeon out to center. Palmer got a piece of it. The icing is waved off as we get the touch in the other end. In comes Powell with a hit.
And someone's going to get a penalty, and I believe it's going to go to the Oilers for boarding. It might be on the hit against Staubitz, because Staubitz negated the icing, and I think he took a bit of a hit on the shoulder blades.
Edmonton 25, 2 minutes of cross check.
The cross check, not boarding, but nevertheless, watch right here. Yeah, he gets the hands up. Big Andy Sutton really didn't need to do that. I think he just wanted to keep Staubitz from making a play with the puck. But given his size, the former Wild defender could have just leaned on Staubitz. Instead, he gets the cross check. And the Wild with a great opportunity on the power play here.
Wild power play. First one of the game. They're 3 for 13 on the young season.
And keep in mind, Pierre-Marc Bouchard is back in the lineup, as we spoke about, which means he's back on that #1 power play unit on the right point.
And he has the puck. Leads it ahead to Captain Mikko Koivu. Koivu to Heatley. Heatley setting up on the half wall. Heatley down low. Back out on top to Bouchard. Zhidlitsky on the right side. Fires a shot. Tipped on goal. Great save, and the rebound cleared to the corner as Heatley sent that one right in on Khabibulin. Jadlitsky again fires. This one was blocked by Schmid in the corner. He ties up there with Heatley. In comes Mikko Koivu to help out. Koivu to Setoguchi. Setoguchi changing direction. Setoguchi tried to get it over to Heatley. That was intercepted. And the Oilers will clear to center. Payarvi drives it in on the Minnesota goal. Backstrom plays it behind, and the Wild will gather up.
What a terrific play to the middle of the ice. And that was a goal in the game against Columbus at the other end of the ice. That's the kind of goal Heatley scored, his only one of the season so far.
Spurgeon rotated right, and the shot was taken there by Scandella and cleared again by the Oilers. Down to 38 to go in the penalty time and the power play for Minnesota. There's the Edmonton native, Jared Spurgeon. Latendresse tried to chip it back to the middle. Gloves it, knocks it down. He gets knocked down, and the puck is cleared again. Spurgeon spins away and now carries out to neutral ice. From center, drives it in. He broke the stick of Jones as he dumped it in. Clutterbuck on the forecheck with a big hit. Final seconds of the penalty time to Andy Sutton. And he'll be back. Sutton did play for the Wild first couple of seasons here in Minnesota. Couple of shots on goal in that power play for the Wild. Loose puck turned over, shot blocked, it goes wide. Little wrap around to the point. Here's Schultz, bouncing puck, and he couldn't get that thing to settle down and get a play off. Back the other way comes Taylor Hall. Hall with a wrist shot on goal and a pad save by Backstrom. Out the other side is Gillies. Colton flying into the end. Colton stops, looks, Brodziak, high slot, carries to the corner. Now Brodziak in front, tipped in on goal, and another big save by Khabibulin. Wild getting some looks here late in the first period.
First period scoreless.
Welcome back. Edmonton up 1-0, but the Wild are doing everything they. Welcome back. Edmonton up
scoreless,
1-0, but the Wild are doing everything they can to try and get back into this one. Look at this. Some nice plays. Brodziak will center it, and a nice little redirect there by Darryl Powell. Khabibulin's been very sharp in this game because the Wild have been getting efforts from not just their top line, but we've seen something from the top three, even the fourth line. Khabibulin looking very sharp early on in this one.
Koivu and Sean Horkoff on the draw, a couple of veterans. Horkoff came over as a free agent in July. Loose in front, bouncing around in front of the Oiler goal. Zanin reaching out, keeps the puck alive in the zone. Across now to Clayton Stoner. Rolling puck, fires it into traffic. It's knocked back to the corner. Picked up and cleared out in front of his own goal and pushed away by Petrie. Out to neutral ice, dumped in from center ice there by Payarvi. Jones had it poked away from him. Banked to head off the boards by Setoguchi. Horkoff to the Minnesota line. Payarvi got spun around. He turns and swings it into the Minnesota end. This is Stoner. Rotates it across where it's dumped into the Edmonton zone. Stoner and Sand and the two defensemen will change up here. Almost a turnover. Now back to Jadlitsky. He shoots right on. A rebound by Gillies is turned away by Khabibulin, who didn't have much business in the first half of the period, but now he's had to make some big stops.
Well, sometimes your forecheck creates a chance right away. Sometimes it intercepts it at the blue line. That's what happened with the Wild. It made him turn it over.
Gilbert's wrist shot didn't get through. And the Wild will clear ahead to center ice. Tipped ahead there by Clutterbuck and in. He was lonely guy the first half of the period.
Yeah, he certainly was. The Wild are doing a better job getting the players in there with good body position and creating turnovers. And this defense, which is a little bit suspect for the Oilers, has been giving up some pucks.
Scandella off a deflection there by Latendresse. It's back in to Marco Scandella, the 21-year-old defender. Gets it off of Latendresse down into the Oilers zone. Here's Bouchard. Got Cullen in front. It's taken away from Bouchard and led back out to center where it's chipped ahead. Picked up by Matt Cullen. Cullen to Scandella. Scandella into the zone deep. Khabibulin leaves it there. Loose in front, a rebound. Bouchard with a great chance. And somehow they avoid destruction and keep the puck out of the net again. Wow. Clayton Stoner leads it ahead. Howe just saw that hit coming at the last second from Theo Peckham. In comes Powell, returns the favor with a big hit down low. That one on Anton Lander. There's a wrist shot taken by Ballmer that misses the mark. Held in by Zanin. And now Staubitz out in front trying to stir things up with Theo Peckham. And Theo Peckham decides he doesn't want any of it, but I think they're both going to go anyway.
Well, the Wild, they're starting to get chances, but the reason why is the forecheck. Watch this right here. Hobby Bulin waits a little too long, and then he makes this errant pass to the front of the net. Boy, you don't do that. You don't do that to your forward, especially your first overall pick this year. He just tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Number 24 minutes on 2 minutes of slash.
The Wild almost tied the game with that bad play, but the Wild are forechecking and creating the situation where either defenders, in this case the goaltender, have to make a bad decision, and they're taking advantage of it by getting shots. They just haven't been able to score yet.
So Peckham and Staubitz both go for slashing. And so we'll get ourselves into a couple minutes of 4-on-4 with just over 2 minutes to go here in the first period of play. There you see Theo Peckham.
We'll see a lot more of him, I'm sure, before the game's out.
Koivu and Heatley up front for the Wild. You've got Lander and Eberle, a couple of young players up front for Edmonton to start this 4-on-4 little session. Across the line into the Minnesota zone. Eberle kicked it to the wall. Shidlitsky is there. He gets taken off the puck. Lander has it in the corner. Knocked back behind the Minnesota goal. Long pass up the middle of the ice. Controlled there. Here's Heatley. Heatley peels back looking for help. Danny Heatley drop pass. Shidlitsky spins away. Had to get away from Eberle. Lander comes back, takes care of the puck, and starts it up on the left wing side. Petrie to the Minnesota line. Sends it around into the corner and off one of the stanchions between the pieces of glass, and luckily Heatley was there. Spurgeon with a nice move to get to center. Spurgeon fighting off Taylor Hall, and Hall won that battle. And Taylor Hall starts it back to center. Hall across the line, and he faked out his own winger on the play at the blue line, and they're offside at the Minnesota line. You see that number 2. Let's take a look at our Menards game reset. Smith has the only goal for Edmonton. Belanger and Eberle, his line mates, got the assist. And there you see that number. 07, January of 07, the last Oiler win here in St. Paul. 2 goals. There was a time before that when the Oilers had the Wild number. Starts it back to center. All across the line, and he faked out his own winger on the
And Doom recovers. The puck's still tumbling out, but one of the referees lost sight of it, and so blew the play dead. You know, we talk about offensive rotations and creating triangles, creating 2-on-1s in the offensive zone, but a lot of your offense can come from hard work and a forecheck. And that's exactly what Campbell and Fulton are able to do. Pouliot riding the left side with these two guys tonight, and it's just simple, hard work, pucks to the net, rotations and creating triangles, creating 2-on-1s in the offensive zone, but a lot of your offense can come from hard work and a forecheck. And that's exactly what Campbell and Fulton are able to do. Pouliot riding the left side with these two guys tonight, and it's just simple.
There was a time in football when the Oilers had the Wild number.
90 volume group image.
Starts it back to center. All across the line. His own winger on the line, and they're offside. Offside of the Canadiens line.
There you see Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, the rookie, was taking the league by storm to start. He doesn't overwhelm you with his physical skills, in the sense he's not going to overpower you, but it's his brain knowing how to understand where to be on the ice to maximize his skills. Then you factor in the 2 young guys he's playing with, and he's having a lot of fun, making it look easier than it is.
Play at the blue line, and they're offside at the Minnesota line. Starts it back to center. All across the line, and he faked out his own winger on the play at the blue line, and they're offside at the Minnesota line. Let's take a look at our Menards game reset. Smith is the only goal for Edmonton. Belanger and Eberle, his line mates, got the assist. There you see that number. 07, January of 07, the last Oiler win here in St. Paul. His line mates got the assist. Let me see that number. 07, January of 07, the last Oiler win here in St. Paul. There was a time before that. 07, January of 07, the last Oiler win here in St. Paul. There was a time before that. 07, January of 07, the last Oiler win here in St. Paul. There was a time before that when the Oilers had the Wild.
Yeah, you thought the Wild would never beat the Oilers. Now it's just quite the reverse.
Cullen trying to steal it away from Habibulin, and he almost did.
Habibulin,
the seventh consecutive
in
the first period
against the
scoreless.
Back from off defensive zone face-off for Montreal. This is the one area of Ryan Nugent Hopkins games that has to get way better. He is under 30% on face-offs, and this is one where it is all about experience and strength. Two of the things that he probably doesn't have at an NHL level just yet.
That one is won cleanly by Thomas Blaquette.
Games that has to get way better. He is under 30% on face-offs, and this is one where it is all about experience and strength. Two of the things that he probably doesn't have at an NHL level just yet.
That one is won cleanly. I say give it to him. The Minnesota zone. Under a minute to go here in the first period. It's a little bit of a slow start for the home team, but they almost did.
Well, Habibulin, not known as a great puck mover, he's made a couple of gaps here in this game already. They have not passed him, but that's one thing. And West Wells
The Edmonton Oilers got moved with face-off deep into the Oilers zone. Good decision by Halak there. He really had no other outlet, and so he had to, you go to your strong side. And Halak, gets that all the way up and nearly advanced to Jason Arnott. Thought he might have had a play beyond the fallen Edmonton Oilers defenseman.
Made a couple of interesting plays.
Very good numbers against.
Take them any way they can get them.
His launch by Halak there. He really had no other outlet, and so he had to, you go to your strong side, and Halak, gets that all the way up and nearly advanced to Jason Arnott.
There was a time before that when the Oilers had the Wild number.
Minnesota Wild 2011 to 2012.
Almost did.
Habibulin the reverse. That's one thing. Made a couple of gaps here in this game already. They have not cost them.
Left in the first.
That's one thing. And West Wells talked about good puck placement and keeping it away from goaltending. That's one thing. And West Wells talked about
scores.
Puck placement and keeping it away from goaltenders. Normally you want to keep it away from goaltenders that are very good at moving the puck. You also want to keep it away from ones that don't as well, because it's better for you to get in on your forecheck and create turnovers that way. But when the puck does get behind the Oiler net right now, Habibulin's made a couple of interesting plays. So the Wild will take them any way they can get them.
Yeah, if he's going to throw the puck out in the slot, I say give it to him. See what happens.
Forecheck and create turnovers that way. But when the puck does get behind the Oiler net right now, Habibulin's made a couple of interesting plays. So the Wild will take them any way they can get them.
Yeah, if he's going to throw the puck out in the slot, I say give it to him. See what happens.
Dump it right in on him. A couple of interesting plays. So the Wild will take them any way they can get them.
Yeah, if he's going to throw the puck out in the slot, I say give it to him.
See them any way they can get them. And create turnovers that way. But when the puck does get behind the Oiler net right now, Habibulin's made a couple of interesting plays.
Other offside doors.
Next keyboard short.
Offside call.
Speed is 1.5 movement.
So the Wild will take them in on your forecheck and create turnovers that way. But when the puck does get behind the Oiler net right now, Habibulin's made a couple of interesting plays. So the Wild will take them any way they can get them.
Yeah, if he's going to throw the puck out in the slot, I say give it to him. See what happens.
Dump it right in on him.
Stoner to Shannon in the Minnesota zone. Under a minute to go here in the first period. It's a little bit of a slow start for the home team. Senaguchi had to wait for that puck. And that puck would have caught up with him, but it went right through the front of the bench area where it's all chewed up and the most snow is on the ice. And it just came to a dead stop here very late in the period. Jadlitsky, final seconds. Along the boards, Brodziak is pinched off. The horn blows, and the period comes to an end. And Staubitz and Peckham say hello. And they will head down the tunnel to the locker rooms. 1-0 Edmonton leads after one period of play. Gorgon tunnel to the locker rooms. 1-0 Edmonton leads after one period of play. Gorgon Greenway will battle it up in face-off. That's coming up next year from Straight Outdoors at Clam Outlet up in face-off. That's coming up next year from Wild can blame it up in terms of his bold little chat.
Well, actually have been very good in that period.
What do you think's going on in that little chat?
Well, you know what? Mike Yeo, I love his demeanor, and I'm sure the players love it too. They say he's intense, but he directs a message all the time. He's always got a message. He's not overly emotional, and it's a great thing to see the players liking a coach that's a first-time head coach in the National Hockey League this early, because usually with a new system, there's a lot of frustration involved with that. Wild don't seem to be showing those signs. They seem to be showing the signs of guys.
Bouchard and Smead going down, and Smead has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call.
Some beauty there, John Kelly. Huh?
Very nice, yes. Good to see these guys back together.
There's TJ Oshie. He likely thinks that Belanger is coming back along the boards to the right, and then he goes shoulder to shoulder. But you can see Belanger is in a vulnerable spot there, and Oshie trying to finish his check. And the reaction of the fan underneath that sees Belanger go face first right into him. It's the right call by the referee, and he gets a boarding call there.
Really likes playing with Bouchard. The puck off you. So Cullen, I think,
90 volume.
Jared's wild.
Cullen said to me that
again.
No idea.
Bouchard and Smead going down.
Smead going down?
Position of Bouchard.
What a save
Against the Wild.
by Tommy Bowen.
good to see these guys back together.
When you watch Dubnik behind the net, Mike, you just sort of
Next keyboard shortcut, shift plus N, double shift plus N.
a little bit of confusion, but is he a big guy? He was drafted #1 by these Edmonton Oilers, and they expect big things. He certainly is still a lot of hockey. At just 25 years old, he's 6 foot 5. I mean, these goaltenders, there should be a rule. They can't be any bigger than 5'10". They can't be any taller than exactly. They got to be short.
Minnesota Wild, 2011, 2012.
Real read. I mean, this at just 25 years old, he's 6 foot 5. I mean, these goaltenders
they have a very good
there should be a rule. They can't be any bigger than 5'10". They can't be any taller than
6.
Puck again. In comes Cook.
just tossing it to
Nick Shaw. And away from that reeking bound.
he's intense coach that's seem to be showing.
Zip puck gets by a couple of Wild sweaters. Bouchard and Smead going down, and Smead has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here. Smead going down, and Smead has the position on Bouchard.
Save by Tommy Bowen.
Call here against the Wild.
Icing call.
Good to see these guys back together. Guillaume Latendresse and Pierre-Marc Bouchard, of course, coming off a suspension.
10 volume, group image.
Before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because
the puck comes back. Now this looks like a fairly innocent play, but Duchesne is so quick. Watch as he gets the blue line. There's all kinds of Edmonton players there, but the two defensemen have to respect it. They back up. The player comes through, and all of a sudden, Lindstrom is wide open. The two defensemen respect the speed. He drives to the net, and Lindstrom has a great opportunity. And Mike,
45 volume.
there's
45 volume.
what that little extra gear does. That's what Paul.
And loose puck again. Bouchard, so it'll be a nice
80
Bouchard
volume,
and
group image.
Smead going down, and Smead has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here against the Wild.
well, good to see these guys back together. Guillaume Latendresse and Pierre-Marc Bouchard, of course, coming off a suspension. And Matt Cullen said to me that before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard reminds him of Ray Whitney, a guy he used to play with in Carolina when they won the Stanley Cup. He says before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard reminds him of Ray Whitney, a guy he used to play with in Carolina when they won the Stanley Cup. He says he's the kind of guy who can really buy a lot of time for you and dish the puck off you. So
She with a shot. Koivu with a backhand. Donor picks it up. Bouchard and Smead going down.
Chance in front.
Smead has
Dubnik makes the
position on
save,
Bouchard,
and then
so it'll be an
pounces
icing
on
call here.
36 seconds
The Wild.
in the crease.
The second period.
These guys back together. They have had that one line. O'Reilly's line that has been red hot since the start of the season. But since this line has been put together, Stastny with Hayduk and Jones, they have been dangerous a lot. Had that one line, O'Reilly's line that has been red hot since the start of the season. But since this line has been put together, Stastny with Hayduk and Jones, they have been dangerous. For the Avalanche, they have had that one line, O'Reilly's line that has been red hot since the start of the season. But since this line has been put together, Stastny with Hayduk and Jones, they have been dangerous.
But Lawton that ball here again back in the Minnesota as the zone, and Schultz gets
Brian Smith scores. Eighth goal here in the playoffs. Makes it 1-0 Edmonton.
Especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move to a spoiler
zone, and Schultz gets back, touches it up, and an icing ball here.
Guillaume Latendresse, and Dan, you spoke about it a little bit earlier, and Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Latendresse, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get in front of him, and Latendresse continues to use that size. And we did say that he lost a little bit of weight and is in very good shape. Latendresse, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get in front of him, and Latendresse continues to use that size. And we did say that he lost a little bit of weight and is in very good shape this season.
Setaguchi with a steal.
But he didn't lose so much that he's not still effective with that size.
Well, he's got a little bit lower center of gravity than Andrew. One stopped by the glove. Skate to Sutton. Andy Sutton got traded out in front of his back.
More net front presence like
second period. Sutton across
all the time. He's all clear.
Gilbert tried to dump it in front, and a skate save on the center attempt by Nick Schultz. Tipped around in front again. Here's Sutton walking in. Sutton makes a move. Gets knocked down. Still loose in front. And finally, Gillies picks it up and clears it around the wall. And Clutterbuck will just bank it off the boards and gets it out of the Minnesota zone.
On both those plays from either side of the net, you saw Backstrom challenge the shooter, and they're just tossing it to the front of the net. They're hoping that some more net front presence like Ryan Smith had will help.
Ryan Smith with a wrist shot, and that one's stumped by the glove of Nicholas Backstrom. And the Oilers come out energized here in the second period. Chances were even in the first 20 minutes at 5 aside. Shots on goal favored position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here.
That's another icing call.
That should not have been whistled down.
The referee has already signaled that with 8.9 seconds to go.
Right after Donnie Van Monssenhoven signaled a head deflected off of Vancouver sticks, that nullified the ice, and this faceoff will come to the center ice. So a break for Vancouver here with 8.9 seconds left on the clock. There's a little miscommunication there. Things were getting heated up after that blast from a sharp angle. Here it is right here off the stick of Henrik Sedin. And after that, it would have nullified it, but they'll have a chance here with 8.9 seconds as that faceoff will come back to the center.
Timeout taken by the Vancouver Canucks, as you might expect.
No item.
In comes Coy.
He's got a work.
Try to dump it in. And finally, Gillies picks it up and clears it around the wall, and Clutterbuck will just bank it off the boards and gets it out of the. Speed has the position.
By Hobby Bowling.
We'll have to keep an eye on the Ryan Whitney situation.
Good to see these guys back together.
Comes against the Oilers.
For Corey Parker,
25 volume group.
passing attempt at the middle, played 8:42 in the first period. A lot of that had to do with Ryan Whitney leaving for some time onto the bench. Did not come out for this second period. So the defense core, the 5 that are remaining for Edmonton, they're going to see a lot more ice time throughout the final 40 minutes.
The Oilers won 62% of the draws in that first period against a team that was number 1 in the dot last year. Vancouver's still pretty good. They are 5th. But the Oilers, and even
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is through.
So the defense score the 5 that are remaining for Edmonton. They're going to see a lot more ice time throughout the final 40 minutes.
The Oilers won 62% of the draws in that first period against a team that was number 1 in the dot last year. Vancouver's still pretty good. They are 5th. But the Oilers, and even Ryan Nugent.
The wrist shot taken by Palmer that misses the mark. And now Staubert's out in front trying to strike things up with Theo Peckham. And Theo Peckham decides he doesn't want any of it. I think they're both going to go anyway.
Well, the Wild, they're starting to get chances, but the reason why is the forecheck. Watch this right here. Bobby Boulin waits a little too long, and then he makes this errant pass to the front of the net. Boy, you don't do that. You don't do that to your forward, especially your first overall pick this year. He just tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Number 44 minutes on 2 minutes of slashing.
The Wild almost tied the game with that bad play, but the Wild are forechecking and creating the situation where either defenders, in this case the goaltender, have to make a bad decision, and they're taking advantage of it by getting shots. They just haven't been able to score yet.
So Peckham and Stauber both go for slashing. So we'll get ourselves into a couple minutes of 4-on-4 with just Hopkins.
Number 44 minutes on 2 minutes of slashing.
The Wild almost tied the game with that bad play, but the Wild are forechecking and creating the situation where either defenders, in this case the goaltender, have to make a bad decision, and they're taking advantage of it by getting shots. The Wild almost tied the game with that bad play, but the Wild are forechecking and creating the situation where either defenders, in this case the goaltender, have to make a bad decision, and they're taking advantage of it by getting shots. They just haven't been able to score yet.
So Peckham and Stauber both go for slashing. So we'll get ourselves into a couple minutes of 4. So Peckham and Stauber both go for slashing. So we'll get ourselves into a couple minutes of 4-on-4 with just over 2 minutes to go here in the first period of play.
And creating your first overall pick this year, he just tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Number 44 minutes on 2 minutes.
Leaving for some errant pass to the front of the net. Boy, you don't do that. You don't do that to your forward, especially your first overall pick this year. He just tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Number 44 minutes on 2 minutes of slashing.
The Wild almost tied the game with that bad play, but the Wild are forechecking and creating the situation where you don't do that to your forward, especially your first overall pick this year. He just tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Number 44 minutes on 2 minutes of slashing.
The Wild almost tied the game with that bad play, but the Wild are forechecking and creating the situation where either defenders, in this case the goaltender, have to make a bad decision, and they're taking advantage of it by getting shots. They just haven't been able to score yet.
And even Ryan Nugent-Hopkins,
either defenders, in this case the goaltender,
at the intermission, 2-1.
YouTube video player.
Lander and Everly,
Hockey board short. 27 minutes, 59 seconds, and 1 hour 33. 9 minutes.
4-on-4 little session.
Next.
Foster makes
31 minutes.
It's knocked
31
down.
minutes. 31 minutes.
Inside.
Hockey board short. Okay, button.
And finally, Achilles picks it up and clears it around the wall, and Clutterbuck will just bank it off front press of Nicholas.
Brian Smith had him
in goal. The Oilers come out energized here in the second period. Chances were even in the first 20 minutes of Smead going down, and Smead has the possession of the shot.
And Bobby Boulin makes his 15th save. It's 8-4.
back together. Before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard reminds him of Ray Whitney.
Well, time to play Safeway's $1 million scoring win. If any Oilers player scores 5 goals in tonight's game, Toby Nielsen of St. Albert could win $1 million. Stop at Safeway, and you could be an excellent winner right here on Sportsnet. From the face-off, run by Craig back to
No item.
Everly along the ice and behind
Hockey board. 31 minutes, 52 seconds. 30.
The Oilers come out energized here in the second period. Chances were even in the first 20 minutes at 5 aside. Shots on goal favored the Oilers, 12-9 through 1, and it was pretty close. bouncing puck. KRV settles it down, leads it across. Gilbert tried to dump it in front, and a skate save on the set. Foster is now around the net. Wheel ahead to meet Koivu, and the Wild captain sends it in deep. Around on the boards, it got by, but it's held in by Zanin. Behind for Heatley in front. Setaguchi with a shot. Koivu with a backhand that goes just wide of the goal. Now Heatley battling with Eberle along the far boards. In comes Koivu. It bounces free across the blue line where Clayton Stoner picks it up. Koivu had it poke checked away. Eberle leads it out left side. There's Ryan Smith. Tried to dump it in deep, didn't get it in deep. And then Spurgeon fanned on his attempt to lead it ahead to Latendresse. And that just slowed down that play completely where the Wild take over. Here's Jared Spurgeon with the loose puck again. Bouchard and Smead going down, and Smead has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here against Jared Spurgeon with the loose puck again. Bouchard and Smead going down, and Smead has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here against the Wild.
Well, good to see these guys back together. Guillaume Latendresse and Pierre-Marc Bouchard, of course, coming off a suspension. And Matt Cullen said to me that before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard reminds him of Ray Whitney, a guy he used to play with in Carolina. Before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard reminds him of Ray Whitney, a guy he used to play with in Carolina when they won the Stanley Cup. He says he's the kind of guy. And Matt Cullen said to me that before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard reminds him of Ray Whitney, a guy he used to play with in Carolina when they won the Stanley Cup. He says he's the kind of guy who can really buy a lot of time for you and dish the puck off you. So Cullen, I think, could have a very good comeback here like he wanted to have, playing alongside Latendresse and Bouchard.
That's Latendresse working the back wall. Bouchard only played in the one game against Columbus, and he did have 2 assists in that opening night game right here at XL Energy Center. Long pass ahead to Pierre-Marc Bouchard, just lays it in the zone. Gilbert comes back to get it. Gilbert trying to get away from Bouchard, sends it up along the boards, held in at the point, dumped back into the far corner. Good play across the way as the puck is dumped in. A big hit in the corner by Latendresse, but the puck ends up back in the Minnesota zone, and Schultz gets back, touches it up, and an icing call here against the Oilers.
Guillaume Latendresse, and Dan, you spoke about it a little bit earlier, and Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Latendresse, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get in front of him, and Latendresse continues to use that size. And we did say that he lost a little bit of weight and is in very good shape.
Latendresse, but the puck ends up back in the Minnesota zone, and Schultz gets
and he makes the save.
Icing call here against the Oilers.
But he does get the whistle. Things that make the Vancouver Canucks so dangerous as they have great pressure and a great cycling ability, especially when the Sedins are on the ice. But they have some big shots from the blue line. You'll see one here. Alexander Edler can really fire the puck. Gets that shot through. Nobody in front at the time. Burroughs was just a little bit late getting to the front. But when you possess big shots like that, you're working from low to high. Get bodies in front. That's how they score a lot of their goals. The Canucks. And we're standing Sabo with a big bomb and gets that shot through. Nobody in front at the time. Burroughs was just a little bit late getting to the front. But when you possess big shots like that, you're working from low to high. Get bodies in front. That's how they score a lot of their goals. The Canucks. And we're standing Sabo with a big. When you possess big shots like that, you're working from low to high. Get bodies in front. That's how they score a lot of their goals. The Canucks. And we're standing Sabo with a big bomb in overtime that beat the Minnesota Wild on Saturday.
And that sometimes plays to your advantage. She with a steal, but he didn't lose so much that he's got a little bit lower center of gravity than Andy Sutton. And that sometimes plays to your advantage.
So what you're saying is he can easily submarine him anytime he wants. Yeah.
6'6". Guillaume, not that tall.
See Daryl Sador having a chat with him. Daryl Sador was a defenseman, but he certainly knows plenty about forwards, having faced them.
Guillaume, not that tall.
See Daryl Sador having a chat with him. Daryl Sador was a defenseman, but he certainly knows plenty about forwards, having faced them.
So
So what you're saying is he can easily submarine him anytime he wants. Yeah.
6'6". That's all.
See Daryl Sador having a chat with him. Daryl Sador was a defenseman, but he certainly knows plenty about forwards, having faced them. 18 years in the National Hockey League. Most of them are having a chat with him. Daryl Sador was a defenseman, but he certainly knows plenty about forwards, having faced them. 18 years in the National Hockey League. Most of them with the Dallas Stars, a couple Stanley Cups, including one with Hobby Boulin in Tampa Bay.
Here's Belanger into the Minnesota zone. Belanger fanned on a centering attempt. Now Petrell in the corner. Knocked away from him to the near side. Sutton stepped up. Payarvi has it. Jadlitsky and Payarvi battle on the backboards. Koivu comes in. Payarvi pinched off by Mikko Koivu. Koivu to Setaguchi. Setaguchi to the boards. Jones keeps it in. He's hit there by Heatley. Bouncing puck, and where to go? And end up in the Oiler bench and out of play.
Well, Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa. And he fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the makings of some very...
Jones keeps it in.
And Henry Boyd makes another save. Another offside against Minnesota.
Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines.
Great low pressure and great cycling ability, especially when the Sedins are on the ice. But they have some big shots from the blue line. Gets that shot through. Nobody in front at the time. Burrows was a little bit late getting to the front. But when you possess big shots like that, you work it from low to high. Get bodies in front. It's how they score a lot of the shots. Burrows was just a little bit late getting to the front. But when you possess big shots like that, you work it from low to high. Get bodies in front. It's how they score a lot of their goals.
He fared fairly well. I mean,
it was Sammy Samuel with a big bomb in overtime that beat the Minnesota Wild.
Get
bodies in front. How they score a lot of their goals.
XL Energy Center after a
Sammy Samuel with a big bomb in overtime that beat.
He has a to each other, but you can already see the makings of some very.
And another save by Happy Bowling.
Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa.
His teammate Sean Horkoff from the top of the circle. It was a great opportunity to put up and block that Sammy Samuel blast. From the top of the circle, it was a great opportunity. The puck jumped out to Samuel. The right choice was to get to the net quickly. Getting a little tap from his teammate Sean Horkoff after blocking that one there. But here's the circle. It was a great opportunity. The puck jumped out to Samuel. The right choice was to get to the net quickly. Getting a little tap from his teammate Sean Horkoff after blocking that one there. But here's the play with Whitney as he just comes skate to skate with Corey Potter, goes down awkward. Getting a little tap from his teammate Sean Horkoff after blocking that one there. But here's the play with Whitney as he just comes skate to skate with Corey Potter, goes down awkwardly, and he was slow to get up. It took him some time to get to his feet and get off the ice, so you hope that he's all right. There's the block by Andy Sutton, who's second on the team in block shots only to Lee. And
back, Jadlitsky and Payarvi battle on the backboard. Koivu comes in. Payarvi pinched off by Mikko Koivu. Koivu to Setaguchi. Setaguchi to the boards. Jones keeps it in. He's hit there by Heatley. Bouncing puck, and where to go?
Minnesota Wild played inefficient. Like this video a lot. Auto settings on click. Next keyboard shortcut. Next keyboard shortcut.
Well, Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa. He fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal. He has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the makings of some very on creative plays. You think Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line, if Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the makings of speed. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the makings of some very creative plays.
He was booed a lot. Second most player that was booed was Sergei Gonchar, and he played for Ottawa. So figure that one out.
Well, the Wild did make a trade as we jump to a separate subject real quick, but Eric Nystrom was traded. He was called back up on recallable waivers, and he was not picked up, but then he was traded, and the reason why is because the Dallas Stars needed his salary to get back to the NHL cap floor. And so it actually, I was talking to Chuck Fletcher on the way over to the rink here from the office this morning, and he said this is a great thing for everybody. Over to the rink here from the office this morning, and he said this is a great thing for everybody. It's a great thing for the Wild because they get to move a player that they couldn't use right now. It's a great thing for Nystrom because he obviously could play in the National Hockey League where he belongs. And it's a good thing for Dallas because they get to that cap floor like they wanted to do. So really, it solved three issues. But Chuck Fletcher did mention I like Nystrom, I like him as a player, I like him as a person, but just at this point in time, did not fit into the Wild plan.
So it's a win-win-win.
Yeah, yes. You have very few of those.
This is power play number 2 for the Wild. Bouchard, now Zhelitsky takes the shot right back to the Mark Bouchard. Just going back to Bouchard after the suspension. Zhelitsky fires it into the slot. He was hoping to hook up there with Danny Heatley, and that's who you'll find Heatley on that power play is in the high slot. Heatley has the puck now. Makes a move towards the goal. Poke checked away. Held on to by Koivu. Sent back to the point. Zhelitsky had that blocked by Ryan Smith. Again by Smith, but it goes right to Koivu. Koivu battling there with Smith. It bounces free. Here's Bouchard moving in with a shot, and he broke his stick right in the middle of the shaft on the slap shot. Here's Heatley now without a defender there. Now Heatley controls long enough for Bouchard to get a new stick into the slot, and he tried to bounce one over to Setaguchi, and he bounced it over the blade of the former Shark stick. Now Setaguchi moving in. Setaguchi shoots, and a save by Khabibulin. Another big stop for Khabibulin.
Setaguchi's had a couple of opportunities in this game. Here Mark Bouchard winds up, and watch this thing. He just breaks right where the hand is pressing the stick. And good vision here by Zhelitsky, who just gets it over to Setaguchi, and Setaguchi has lots of time. Khabibulin is looking like the Khabibulin of old.
Cullen will take the draw. He scored a minute 10 into the home opener here Saturday, and that win over Columbus. He wins the draw. Clutterbuck along the boards, tied up by Gilbert, ahead to Belanger, and cleared backhander all the way down the ice. 25 seconds, that is, to go in the penalty time to Theo Peckham. This is Spurgeon. Weaving his way to center. Sends it in. And the Wild are in offside. Have to tag up. Puck is shot out of play. Off a deflection, they'll say. And just 8 seconds to go in the Minnesota power.
Thinking only one way, or thinking they need to go to one area, because then teams will start to reap. And
Dress trying to rub.
Have the personnel that can come up with some different scenarios.
Dress trying to rub Sutton out on the back wall. Clutterbuck comes away with it. Sutton pokes it free. Now Horkoff trying to clear the zone. Here's that feverish forecheck by the Minnesota Wild. They'll come to the near side to Gilbert. He'll bank it ahead. Picked off by Dress on the wing, but that's deflected back to Jared Spurgeon, who settles things down. Spurgeon with a quick give and go there. Ahead to center, now through the neutral zone into the Edmonton end of the rink. Tom Gilbert has it. Cullen takes it away. Cullen had it slide off his stick. Clutterbuck has it. Now Clutterbuck tried to return it to Cullen. Picked off. Here's Hall. Taylor Hall left side. He fires a shot that rises over the shoulder of Backstrom and off the back glass. Here's Cullen in the corner. Zanin helps it along. Pinching in at the point is Cam Barker. Cam Barker signed here in the summer July 1st as a free agent after spending some time here for the Wild. 1 season, 71 games. At the Wild blue line, long wrist shot goes all the way through to Backstrom, and he'll glove it, keep it, and we'll step away for just a moment.
Midway point of the hockey game, Oilers lead 1-0 here in downtown St. Paul. Time for our Sanford Health injury report. Point of the hockey. The face of the National Hockey League is number 87 for the Penguins, Sidney Crosby. He's been cleared for full contact as of today. He last played on January 5th of 2011. He was concussed at that point. Crosby and the Penguins in town Tuesday. There's a slight chance he'll be in the lineup. His teammate Evgeny Malkin, who's also missed some time this year, is playing tonight and will likely play Tuesday against the Wild. It's a tough schedule here in this homestand after the Oilers guys. On Saturday, the Red Wings come to town. Then it's the high-flying Penguins, so Wild better pack a lunch.
Kevin, have you been cleared for full contact? Because I'd like to know that for next face-off.
You tell Wes Wallace for that instruction after the game to take it easy. Even though I've been cleared, I just tiptoe into the water.
Wild trying to turn this around at center ice. Heatley with it, double team, got rid of it to Koivu. Back out to the point quickly. Spurgeon moves in. He shoots off a deflection right past Heatley on the rebound. Held in. Scandella shoots. Glove save. Habibul, and he'll keep it.
The Wild are starting to do the things that are going to give them success ultimately here, and that is shoot the puck. Mike Yo's talked about that all season long. Into the preseason as well, he's talked about it, and that's basically just getting pucks to the net. It creates more chances right there in the possible deflection in front. Scandella wiring one as well. There aren't a lot of the Wild point men who have what you call bombs for shots, but it doesn't always take that to score goals. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting it to the net, getting a deflection, getting a rebound. So good to see them trying that.
Stoner's shot knocked away. Now quickly back to Pierre-Marc Bouchard towards the goal. He got it through and had a couple of red sweaters there, both Cullen and Latendresse. But an unfortunate bounce put it right on the stick of the Oilers, and they clear it all the way down. Here comes Zanin. Zanin leads it ahead. Bouchard one times it out to Cullen. Now across the line. Slowed down at the blue line as it got caught up in the feet of Guillaume Latendresse. Now comes loose to Cullen. Cullen with Stoner. Cullen waiting, fires, shoots, he scores! Matt Cullen! Ahead Bouchard one times it out, and they clear it all the way down. Here comes Zanin. Zanin leads it ahead. Bouchard one times it out to Cullen. Now across the line. Slowed down at the... Zanin leads it ahead. Bouchard one times it out to Cullen. Now across the line. Slowed down at the blue line as it got caught up in the feet of Guillaume Latendresse. Now comes loose to Cullen. Cullen with Stoner. Cullen waiting. Guillaume Latendresse. Now comes loose to Cullen. Cullen with Stoner. Cullen waiting, fires, shoots, he scores!
Over there with Jay and by Lot. Great to see this. It gives Matt Cullen the time that he needs, and he makes a beautiful wrist shot over the glove. So, make the perfect play. The Wild need to shoot the puck, and it works for them. And trying to make the perfect play. The Wild need to shoot the puck, and it works for them.
Wild even it up here near the midpoint of the period. Angle shot there from Jones, turned aside. Jones comes back and gets it. He was actually a Wild draft pick long time ago in 2004. Colton Gillies with it, leads it out nicely to Kyle Brodziak, the former Oiler, gets to center, dumps it in. Clutterbuck on the chase. Habibulin knocks it away from the hits leader in the NHL. Up the right wing side to center, it's dumped ahead by Petrie. He'll stop in front of his own bench and change on the fly. Wild turn, Brodziak waiting up ice. He redirects it into the Edmonton zone to eliminate an icing call. Now here's Peckham, starting out with a little room in his own end. Across rink, hooks up with Lander. Lander across the line. Upended Powell, but lost the puck. Powell picks up the puck. Now to Brad Staub, it's on Peckham. Stops, looks, waits, dumps it in deep. Powell is behind the behind the Edmonton goal with the puck. Powell to the point. Redirected out to center ice, now controlled, and Zanin will fire it right back in. Nearing the midpoint of the game in the period. Wild have evened the game, almost have evened the shot total. 16 for Edmonton, 14 for Minnesota at this point.
Tied at
the
one.
Time of puck possession has been a huge increase since the early portions of this game. Peckham.
Stanley Cup first round.
Wild working the 1-2-2 there very nicely. You see the Oilers did not have an easy time getting out of the zone and eventually iced the puck because of it.
Well, join Ron Gardenhire to relive the greatest moments he's witnessed in his 20 years on the Twins staff. Watch In My Own Words, Ron Gardenhire, Friday after Gopher Hockey only on Fox Sports North.
Is he going to use signs? Is that his own words?
He might. I'm guessing he won't mention anything about the time he played goalie here at NHL.
Hey, he got in there. I got to give him credit for that.
It wasn't pretty. Hall up the middle. Jones lost it, poke checked away. Now led ahead on the right side. Koivu trying to poke it around. Big Andy Sutton. Sutton dumps it back behind his own goal. Tom Gilbert was there. Former Jefferson Jaguar sends it through the neutral zone. Jadlitsky turned it over, picked up by Nugent Hopkins. Hall on the back wall. Spurgeon and Hall battle down low. Koivu trying to get it from Nugent Hopkins, and now Hall has it. Hall sends it back to the point, but Devin Setaguchi picked it off. Setaguchi to center. He's got Heatley on one wing. His poke checked away. Koivu had already gone to the bench for a change, so they were outnumbered on the play. Dumped out into the high slot, now kicked right back to the corner by Eberle. He loses an edge and goes down. Leg pass ahead now, here comes Heatley, still on the ice. Banks it ahead into the zone. Setaguchi in on the forecheck. Heatley goes to the bench. Little bouncing puck. Knocked back into the corner by Pierre-Marc Bouchard. Bouchard ridden off by Tom Gilbert. Good physical play by Tom Gilbert. Sutton has the puck. Now to Belanger. And now flipped ahead into the Minnesota zone. We started this game with a pretty good pace. It has not let up really at all, has it?
It's been the kind of skating game that we've seen in the past between these two clubs. The difference is the Wild are now also a skating team, so it makes for a good flow in a hockey game.
Brodziak fakes the shot, drives in, puts a wrist shot on goal. Juggled a bit there by Hobby Bulin, but he hangs on. Matt Cullen has his third goal of the season for the Wild.
Welcome back. We got a 1-1 game. We're on the bench with Wild forward Danny Heatley. First period, the Oilers had some good chances, but you guys are taking over right now. What's been the biggest difference?
I think just our pace, like you said. I think, came a little flat. I think second period we picked it up. Getting it behind their D and getting in on them.
All right, guys, up to you.
Well, he's right. The pace really has picked up from the first period, in particular for the Wild. But I think they're playing their system a lot better in this period.
Bouchard creating some space, dumps it ahead for Cullen. The hash mark, sends it in the corner. Lockton Gress waiting, now trying to get around Sean Horkoff. Back for Bouchard, they cycle down low. Nicely done to Cullen. Cullen turns back, kicks it ahead. Cullen, drop pass, puts it right on the tape of the stick of Bouchard. There's some chemistry out there. That line is clicking right now.
Pause group.
Here's Jadlitsky, waiting, fires one, lobs one towards the goal. Big rebound, but luckily it was gathered up by the Oilers and cleared out. Impressive shift of offensive zone cycling there for that Cullen line. Bouchard. Now Setaguchi has it as a partial line change is underway. Back to Pierre-Marc Bouchard. Out to the point. Jadlitsky moving in. Looks, waits. Now crosses at center. His shot is blocked. Zanin had slipped behind them if they had flip-flop sides as Jadlitsky was looking for a lane to shoot through. Nugent Hopkins down. Dumps it back down low. Lander is there. Nugent Hopkins picks it up, dumps it in front, looking for Taylor Hall. Back to Peckham at the point. Sends it into the corner, off the boards, off the back of the goal. Check on the back wall there by Zanin, and it's flipped ahead to Setaguchi. Took a nice bounce to Devin Setaguchi, waiting for help. Drop pass, gets it to Koivu. Mikko in front. Heatley is there, but it's deflected by Danny Heatley. Here comes Hall the other way. Taylor Hall lost it, picked up. Heatley ahead now to Mikko Koivu. Koivu puts on the brakes, into the slot. Heatley with a shot in traffic. Loose puck in front. They can't get to the loose puck. Out in front, Schmid had, who was it, Gillies, just tackled in front of the goal. Looked like he was just pinning him to the ice. Schmid has it for Edmonton. Long pass ahead across the Minnesota line to Eric Belanger. Belly's been around a little bit. LA, Carolina, Minnesota, then Washington, Phoenix, and now Edmonton. Dumped in by Clutterbuck. Abby Bulin ran into traffic behind the goal. That was Brodziak. Smith has it. He's hit there by Bulmer. And then a hit along the boards by Clutterbuck.
Seems like every time Abby Bulin gets behind the net, there's problems.
Good aggressive shift by the Wild. Through center, dumped off now for Tom Gilbert. Gilbert tried to center off a deflection. It goes in front of the Minnesota goal to the corner. Belanger and Stoner go in after. Belanger dumps it behind. Ryan Smith centers up in the air. It's deflected to the corner. And now Stoner has it. Sees his man. That's Brodziak. Brodziak waiting. Dumps it ahead off of Clutterbuck. Cam Barker off the boards out to center. Payarvi is there. Knocked away by Brodziak. Wild doing a change right in front of their own bench.
And I think they're going to get too many men on the ice as Clutterbuck was late on the change. And I think the player coming on either played it or was close enough to it.
We'll be back. Let you know who's going to the penalty box. Wild and Oilers even at 1.
Well, the Wild are going to the penalty box for too many men. Watch this play. The puck's in front of the bench. Staubitz will be jumping over the boards because Clutterbuck was coming on, or off, excuse me. But Clutterbuck sees the puck at the last second, decides to play it. Staubitz is already on the ice, so that's too many men. And there's Clutterbuck hopping the boards, but that's just a little miscommunication. And Staubitz was anticipating Clutterbuck coming off, and I think Clutterbuck just felt that the puck was there. He didn't realize Staubitz had already jumped the boards.
Well, it gives the Oilers their first power play of this game. Their power play, and their only other game this season was that win against Pittsburgh. They were 0 for 5 on the power play. Brodziak with a nice steal out at center ice. Crosses the blue line, dumps it in deep. And the Oilers will see what they can do with their first chance with the man advantage. Zanin.
They got enough Hopkins on a
period. Clubs.
I don't even want how much hit on Hall, and we talked about the
1 hour.
Hall a little.
Come the Oilers. Was Danny Heat, Litsky,
Pause keyboard shortcut K button.
In a battle to a couple of defenders, Gilbert, and
just felt that the puck was there. He didn't realize Staubitz had already jumped the boards.
Well, it gives the Oilers their first power play of this game. Their power play, and their only other game this season was that win against Pittsburgh. They were 0 for 5 on the power play. Brodziak with a nice steal out at center ice. Crosses the blue line, dumps it in deep. And the Oilers will see what they can do with their first chance with the man advantage. Zanin got it through traffic all the way down. Howe will go to the bench. Get some fresh legs on the ice. Abby Boulin slows it down at the other end. Shots on goal now even at 17 aside. Cleared again. Bouncing in. Abby Boulin to play it. Bouchard down to a minute to serve. He's serving the too many men penalty. Wild swept all 6 meetings with the Oilers last season. Shot from the point. That got through.
Boy.
And Backstrom got run down. Well, and that's going to result in a penalty.
It's Ryan Smith, and even if Smith was pushed, he's just notorious for running into goaltenders, and he does it again.
As the puck is touched there by Ryan Smith, he will turn around and head towards the penalty box.
And he always plays innocent after the fact, and he may have been pushed, but he certainly doesn't. Oh no, he wasn't even. I thought he might have been shoved a bit, but boy, he wasn't even close.
He just ran him down.
I mean, that's. And then Backstrom's not exactly 4 feet on top of his crease. I mean, he is basically standing with his heels on the edge of the crease, and Smith just steamrolls him. And as I said, Ryan Smith's notorious for doing that. He's a guy who plays very, very solidly in front of goaltenders usually, and he has the lone goal for the Oilers by doing just that. But you normally don't want to steamroll a goaltender right in front of the referee.
Now here's a quick chance for Petrell playing in his first NHL game, and he got caught by Scandella. Is that a case of a guy not knowing where he is or not caring where he is?
I think, trust me, Ryan Smith knows exactly where he is. I think it was a little, I don't know, it's not so much not caring, but I think he just felt that if he could brush in front of Backstrom a little bit, take a piece of his glove and maybe his mask and throw him off, that's a good way to get yourself a goal. But I think he got a little too much. Yeah. And Backstrom may have been moving out a little bit to cut down the angle. But it's the player's responsibility to stay out of the goaltender's way in that circumstance.
Belanger short-handed. He drove it over the top of Spurgeon, who went down to block the shot. Backstrom made the save. A little over a minute to go in a Minnesota man advantage. Setaguchi. Koivu. Out to the point. Jedlicki. Right back to Mikko. Setaguchi to Keatley, and he couldn't put it away. A lot of traffic in front. Mikko Koivu. Bouchard. Jedlicki with a drive. It was knocked. Belanger knocked it down. And now it's cleared off the wall and bounces free to the neutral zone. Jedlicki is there waiting for Wild. He'll backpedal to his own blue line. Now ahead across the line. Keatley moving in. Keatley moving in, and he lost it. Poke checked away at the last second. Now Bouchard, top of the circle. Lost it. 20 seconds to go. Here comes Horkoff. Horkoff with Jones to Jones. A backhander. He never got the shot off. He had Backstrom beat. Couldn't pull the trigger.
Mikko Koivu was gassed on the play. He just couldn't get back to take Jones. And Jones had Backstrom out of the net, but lost the puck.
Harvey knocked down. Picked up. Here's Powell moving in. His shot is blocked. Latendresse with a shot and a save. And the puck goes to the corner. Wild getting chances. Out on top. Here's Zanin with a shot. Just wide. Back in. Back is knocked away. Zanin with another shot. That hit a body out in front. It goes to the back glass. Oh my, chances galore, but we're still tied at 1. Wild now 0 for 3 on the power play. Edmonton is 0 for 1.
Of the Stanley Cup first round series.
Has it with a minute to go in the period. Pushed out to center and beyond. Gilbert. Back for Nugent Hopkins. Into the Minnesota zone.
Save!
Zanin to Powell. Daryl Powell goes rink wide to Guillaume Latendresse. Latendresse is in all alone, trying to battle to a couple of defenders. Gilbert and Petrie were back. Latendresse sends it to the corner. Brodziak. Brodziak finds some space. Circles back. Poked away. As the rookie Nugent Hopkins finally won that little battle along the boards, but it's dumped right back in from center ice by the Wild. Final seconds of our second period. Gillies behind. Brodziak takes it off the dasher. Brodziak tied up by Petrie. Second period winding down. Clutterbuck tried to center right before the horn. He could not. A very well contested, energetic effort through 2 periods.
It's over.
Well, the Oilers tried to get the lead again. A good job getting the puck over to Jones, and Koivu just couldn't reach. Jones just hands on what was going to be an open net. He thought he was hooked by Jedlicki, but it's still 1-1.
Stay with us. Kevin Gorg and Matt Cullen will hook up in a few minutes. Wild heading to the locker room, tied at 1 with the Oilers.
Game 4.
Heading to the locker room, tied at 1 with the Oilers.
2012 Stanley Cup.
Now, body position, Rick Wilson will tell you that defense is a lot about hard work, but it's about positioning. And if you can get body position on the forecheckers or the guys coming in with a puck, you're going to give yourself that much more opportunity to turn the puck transition-wise the other way.
Well, Mike Yeo said this morning we need to respect their young, talented players and their speed, and the Wild have done that and made the adjustments, so now we're tied at 1.
Over 18.
One adjustment for the Oilers, I believe that Alex Hemsky is out of the game and not return because of what we think is a shoulder injury. Of course, he's had that shoulder injury last year, and I don't know if it's a recurrence of that or something different, but he's certainly a big piece to that top line.
Well, when you don't have too many guys
on board! Oh! 35 saves for Harvey Boley here in Game 4.
Former first-round pick of the Oilers. They've got a lot of first-rounders in the lineup. Some recent, some not so recent. Through the neutral zone. Quick shot on goal, and Backstrom steers that one aside. Schultz back behind to Jedlicki, who rings it around. Clutterbuck makes the hit. Puck comes out across the center line. Schmid back in his own end. Oilers making changes. Wild will make a few changes as well while they have a moment. This is Stoner going back. Quickly ahead, up the middle, fighting for that bouncing puck was Danny Heatley. Now controlled by Schmid back in his own end. Peckham drops it back once again for Schmid. Schmid blocked 6 shots in that game against Pittsburgh on Sunday. He was stepping in front of everything. Setaguchi. Back for Clayton Stoner. Pushed ahead by Zanin. Heatley to Koivu. Mikko around one man in the neutral zone. Koivu lost the puck, fighting to get it back. Bouncing puck. Heatley took a swing at it. Couldn't redirect it towards the goal. And back come the Oilers out. They'll just flip it ahead into the Minnesota zone. Petrell goes into the corner, lost it. Heatley can't gain control. Petrie has it towards the goal, and it goes through. Hall was standing at the far post, but he couldn't get a piece of it. Now Taylor Hall out of the corner. Hall gets tripped up, lost an edge, goes down. Koivu picks up the loose puck, leaves it there with Stoner. Stoner will flip it ahead just to clear the zone. And this one should not be icing as Cam Barker goes back to get it.
Taylor Hall a little incensed that there was no tripping call on that play, but I believe the Wild player who got the stick in there got enough of the puck.
Bouchard, tied up by Horkoff, comes free. Cam Barker has it. Barker knocks it away from Guillaume Latendresse. Pushed ahead by Jones off a deflection by Cullen. It'll climb over the glass and end up out of play. Larry from Edina has our Toyota text question for tonight. He wants to know which one of those first rounders for the Oilers is going to be the best down the road. And you've got Everly, and you've got Hall, and you've got Nugent Hopkins. And
that is not a fair question.
Right, well, come on, let's go. What do you think?
Well, I mean, Taylor Hall put on some weight, so I mean, he's still trying to get used to his new size. Of course, Nugent Hopkins is pretty ripe, but he's a big, tall kid that still needs to grow into his new size. Of course, Nugent Hopkins is pretty ripe, but he's a big,
what a
big
save!
tall kid that still needs to grow into his size too. Now they're starting to get after it in front of the net a little bit, but
Sutton and Latendresse just kind of grabbed a hold of each other in front.
I think such different style players. I mean, Nugent Hopkins is a playmaker. He's very quick. Hall has a little more grit to him, I think. I don't even want to answer that question. I don't think it's fair to any of them to answer that question.
Harvey was a first rounder. I mentioned Hemsky.
Pull a name out of a hat. I mean, there's so much talent there, and there's such different styles.
I think they're going to send them both off in this case. Sutton took some shots at Latendresse, and Guillaume just kind of wrapped him up and grabbed a hold of him.
Oh, in front of the net, there's Sutton. Guillaume Latendresse and he have bumped into each other on occasion in this hockey game. And Guillaume always has to have a conversation with the guy he's in the box with, doesn't he?
He's a very friendly young man.
He's just chit-chatting. It's great.
So 4-on-4 for a couple of minutes. Early here in the third period. Wild outshot the Oilers 11-7 in the second period. Have a one-shot edge right now. Harvey slows it down, sends it back in his own zone. Meeting 1 of 6 on the upcoming season between these two clubs. Slows it down, sends it back in his own zone. Meeting 1 of 6 on the upcoming season between these two clubs.
The best of 7. Pure
Hemsky centered.
Horkoff
centered. That was intercepted. And out of the neutral zone, but poked ahead by Brodziak. He was trying to get off the ice, just wanted to put it someplace safe. And the Wild now get 4 sets of fresh legs on the ice. Scandella across to Spurgeon. He'll drop pass for Danny Heatley. Heatley through center. Heatley to the blue line. Heatley up the middle, winds it up, and the save by Javi Bulin. And they gave Heatley a lane, and he just drove it in on the goaltender. And now Heatley to Koivu. Mikko on his backhand to Heatley, and a shot and a blocker saved by Javi Bulin. And he covers up. Danny Heatley making his presence known.
Koivu gave a bit of a look away to one of the Wild players coming in, and look at him. He looks, and he drops back. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again.
Heatley came into this game leading the Wild in shots on goal, 10-3. After save by Javi Bulin, and he on his backhand to Heatley, and a shot with a shot. 38 save, making his presence known. Nikolai Javi Bulin.
Koivu gave a bit of a look away.
From the top of the circle, it was a great
all the Wild players coming in, and look at him. He looks, and he drops back. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in.
But here's the play with
right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again. One of the Wild players coming in, and look at him. He looks, and he drops back with everyone else.
His back winds it up, and the save by Javi Bulin. Heatley through center. Heatley to the blue line. Heatley in the middle, winds it up, and the save by Javi Bulin.
40 saves for Javi Bulin.
Drove it in on the goaltender. And now Heatley to Koivu. Nico on his backhand to Heatley, and a shot. Saved by Javi Bulin. And it covers up Danny Heatley, making his presence known.
Koivu gave a bit of a look away to one of the Wild players coming in, and look at him. He looks, and he drops back. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again. Heatley came into this game leading the Wild in shots on goal, 10-3 games. Great kick. By Javi Bulin. They gave Heatley a lane, and he just drove it in.
Drove it out!
And now Heatley to Koivu.
Javi Bulin just had a great night.
Shot and a blocker saved by...
And a save. 42
saves. Look away to one of the Wild players coming in, and look at him. He looks, and he drops back. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else. Defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been to get it back again when it's time to unleash one like he did right there. I think that's good for him.
Spurgeon to Setaguchi. Setaguchi to the right side. Stoner with a stop and a nice save by Javi Bulin. Cullen trying to take it away from boards, and it's flipped out to center ice. Stoner again. Stoner this time ahead to Setaguchi. Setaguchi waiting, fires, shot, saved by Javi Bulin. Another face-off coming up in the Edmonton zone. A look at our Bud Light. What's on tap? Saturday, Detroit comes to town. Next Tuesday, Pittsburgh is here. The Wild head for two on the road at Edmonton and Vancouver before heading back home.
Minnesota
October
Wild
27th against the
Oilers.
Ducks. That's your Bud Light. What's on tap?
To Rexall plays. And next,
Almost 5 minutes here into the third period. Still even at one. Powell on the draw, trying to get it back to the point. Remains in control. Does get it back to the point. That shot by Zan and found its way through to the backboards.
Game 7.
Bulmer. Staubitz. Schmid on Staubitz. Having a good war in the corner. Comes loose to Horkoff. Right out front, turns it over. Bulmer shot. Saved by Javi Bulin.
Wow, that was a gift.
Wow. Comes loose to Horkoff. Right out front, turns it over. Bulmer shot. Saved by Javi Bulin.
What a save!
Bulmer would have been very happy to pick that puck up and wrap a piece of tape around it and write #1 goal in the National Hockey League. That would have been Bulmer's first goal, not first point. But when you have a good forecheck, this is exactly what you do. You create turnovers. Horkoff just tosses a meatball up the middle. You do not make that pass. I'm surprised a guy like Horkoff would have even attempted to make that kind of a move. But he goes right up the middle with it, and Bulmer sneaks in there for the interception, and he almost made it count.
could not get enough stick on it to put it by Javi Bulin. Zannon's going to get called here for interference. Just could not get enough stick on it to put on. He was surrounded by red. Scherzer going to get called. Said get enough stick on it to put it by Javi Bulin. Zannon's going to get called here for interference along the board.
44!
Well, body position's one thing, but the player has to have the puck. Wild with the good opportunities in this period, and there's Koivu again. Likes to step out, and boy, just out of Heatley's reach. He was sliding away from it. And here's the puck chipped by, and you know what? He's riding him off, and I don't know. I think you gotta allow the defender, when the puck's chipped by him, to finish his check, and I think that's what Zannon was doing. The referee felt that Hall chipped it early enough that he should be given the lane.
Second power play of the game for the Oilers.
Another save by Javi Bulin.
Back out on top. He's Cam Barker. Right back for Magnus Payardi. Payardi's shot blocked by Powell. Scandella. The bump on Smith. Now Horkoff has it. Scandella caught him from behind. Back in the corner. Ryan Smith has it. Now right back to Sean Horkoff. Smith looking in front. All the way out. Payardi fakes the shot. Dishes it off. Barker with a shot. Went off the skate of Brodziak. Now comes right to Kyle Brodziak. He'll slowly get his way to center and then dumps it softly into the Edmonton zone. And the Wild get 4 fresh penalty killers on the ice here. Hall tried to walk around Stoner. Stoner took the puck away, turns, sweeps it down the length of the rink. Petrie starts it out. Grew up in Ann Arbor, played at Michigan State. Fires it in from the red line.
Boy, that's a
gutsy move.
Yeah, that is.
Usually if you're from Ann Arbor, you play for Michigan.
It is.
Michigan.
You try to
46 saves.
Or East Lansing, you play for Michigan State.
The Harvey Origin.
Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Tom Gilbert grew up in Minnesota, played for Wisconsin.
That'd be like Nico somewhere in Sweden.
Tom Gilbert grew up in Minnesota, played for Wisconsin.
That'd be like Nico playing somewhere in Sweden.
Now you're getting carried away.
That'd be like Nico playing somewhere in Sweden.
Now you're getting carried away. Work out that way. Tom Gilbert grew up in Minnesota, played for Wisconsin.
That'd be like Nico.
35 seconds left to go in Zannon's penalty time. Steal. Brodziak turned to Powell, and Powell had no idea that Brodziak had picked the pocket of the Edmonton defender, so he was trying to get that quick pass from Kyle Brodziak. Penalties in the league.
I think the Wild have so many good pairings that they could put together. That's one of them, obviously. And Clutterbuck has done a good job at killing penalties. Koivu's generally a guy that you could put out there in any situation. So many good guys out there that could kill penalties for the Wild.
The Oilers did not get a shot on goal in that power play. They only have one shot so far this period. We're almost 8 minutes deep into it. Dumped in by Peckham. Stopped by Backstrom, leaves it for Stoner. Stoner up along the boards. It gets knocked down in the corner. Stoner battles to get it back, then loses it behind the goal as Ryan Smith comes in. Jones centers. Jones has it back, loose in front. He handcuffed Belanger with that puck. Cross the line, La Tendresse. Now Setaguchi comes away with it to Mikko Koivu. Koivu turning in the corner. Koivu across. Spurgeon towards the goal. It's tipped wide by Devin Setaguchi. Heatley to Setaguchi. Setaguchi now leaves it for Mikko Koivu. Koivu, one-timer by Heatley, partially fanned on. Stepping on was Schultz. Goes all the way in to pick it up. Schultz stepping in, gives it to Mikko Koivu. Koivu to the point, Jidlitsky across, Setaguchi covering the left point for Schultz. Now Schultz returns to his spot. Held in, Jidlitsky. Schultz towards the goal, on goal, big rebound, tucked back in towards him by Belanger, and Javi Bulin makes a glove save on his own teammate.
Oilers have been like a generous slot machine, just popping pucks up the middle, giving the Wild opportunities, but keep in mind, it's not just the Oilers giving the puck up. The Wild are creating this by their forecheck. They're creating it by taking away any lanes that the Oilers have to get the puck out of the zone, and the Oilers are starting to just even toss it up the middle sometimes, which certainly isn't a good choice, but it's giving the Wild opportunities. If it weren't for Nikolai Khabibulin, the Wild would be up 4 or 5-1 in this hockey game because they're creating chances with their forecheck. It's exactly what Mike Gill wanted to see, but now you have to finish it on the other end of it.
Wild out shooting the Oilers 8-1 so far this period. 15,878.
Wild.
We're watching this one, hoping Wild out shooting the Oilers 8-1 so far this
series.
15,878. We're watching this one.
This will be 2012 Stanley Cup playoff.
Find a way to beat Javi Bulin here in the third and get 2 points out of it. Jones and Cullen going back. Jidlitsky rings it around. Contest got a piece of it, enough to get it by Andy Sutton. Sutton turns, sends it rink wide off the boards in his own zone. Flipped ahead to Payardi. Stick it away from Magnus Payardi. Out of the corner. Recovering nicely was Merritt Jidlitsky. Open up the line. Goes off the shin pads.
What a save!
Bouchard's pass. Didn't quite
Happy Bulin. It's 48. Save here in this hockey
boards. It comes loose to Jones. And now Jones working his way towards center. Leads it ahead on the left wing side, and it's dumped deep into the Minnesota zone. Both teams making some changes here. Here's Zanin with the puck. Ahead, it's cleared by Brodziak to the line. Right back for Kyle Brodziak. Ran into traffic. Brodziak in the corner. Now Gillies has the puck. Gillies tied up by Cam Barker. Puts it back behind. Spinning away with the puck is Brodziak back in front, but Gillies is still down low by the post. Here's Zanin. Stoner moving in. Stoner waits, gets the defender down, runs one right through the crease up high. Brodziak would like to have gotten a piece of that one, but he could not. Brodziak leaning in there on Lander. Puck out at center. Tipped ahead by Brodziak to get it away from Petrie, and it's controlled by another youngster, 20-year-old Anton Lander. Stoner slaps one into center. Koivu back behind. Here's Heatley. Heatley looking, tried to hit Setaguchi, deflected. Scandella right to Setaguchi, right through the top of the crease, back to the point. Spurgeon sends it around behind. Picked up by Devin Setaguchi in front with a shot. Rebound pops up in the air, and Javi Bulin gloves it.
Setaguchi with 3 shots in this game. Heatley with 4. They still pound away, but cannot find a way to solve Javi Bulin.
It's time now for the CenturyLink high-speed play of the game.
Good forecheck there by the Wild. They keep the puck, and, well, they get a lot of support on the play. That leaves Matt Cullen the opportunity to do what he wants. Pass it, shoot it. He elects to shoot, gets his 3rd goal of the season, all of them even strength. Keep in mind, he only had 3 even strength goals out of his 12 the entire season last year, and so he's already matched that. Off to a very, very good start.
Last year, if you remember, he started just on fire on the power play.
And penalty
goals,
kill.
Assists, short-handed goals.
Short-handed goals. He was doing a lot. He had 12 goals. Like I said, 3 of them were even strength, so he got some in other ways. Good to see him already with 3 on the even strength side of things.
Javi Bulin turned that one over. Schmid has to gather it up behind his own goal. Here comes Setaguchi. Now cleared up to Ryan Smith. Smith dumps it out to the middle of the ice, and at center ice, it's picked up and carried ahead by Nick Schultz. Schultz sends it to the corner. Schmid has it there. Off the skate of Ryan Smith. Bounces ahead to the Minnesota line. Schultz will chase it down. Got by Setaguchi, now intercepted. Here's Cullen moving in. Matt Cullen in 1-on-3, comes out with the puck. Jedlicki to Cullen. Cullen in front. He had Setaguchi open in the slot, and that was broken up by Sean Horkoff. Bouchard to Guillaume Latendresse. Latendresse fires a shot that was blocked. Latendresse tries to get it back down low in the corner to Bouchard. Intercepted. Here comes the Oilers back.
He took that shot because he saw Bouchard going to the net after Bouchard had given him the puck. So some good ideas. He just couldn't get it through.
Guillaume sends it in again. Bouchard on the back wall. In comes Latendresse to help up. He's pushed up against the wall there by Cam Barker. You can see Bouchard battling with the puck in his skates. It's stripped free and carried ahead out of the zone. Petrell sends it in. Lander after it. Cullen sends it around. Bouncing puck. Bouchard settles it at center. Bouchard will dump it in. Wild will change here. All five will change right now for Minnesota. Just over 7 minutes to go in the third period. Tied at 1.
Tied at 1.
Here comes Powell. Takes the hit. He knew he'd be hit, but he got there. Barker threw a hip into it.
First round series.
Petrie got it to Hall. Hall drop pass. Quick shot way wide of the goal by Petrell. Now Powell trying to work his way to center. Can't. Gets it back on a second chance. Slows it down to Spurgeon. Now Brodziak has it. He'll send it in deep. Spurgeon and Scandella, the D pair, head off. Schultz and Jedlicki are on now. Belanger to Nick Schultz, the former teammates. And Schultz sends it back deep into the Oilers zone. The puck made its way through some bodies at center. Schultz going back and gets the touch. And that's an icing call against the Oilers. Our Abra hit of the game.
Slow it down for you, but look at the shoulder into the chest. Taking out the body, taking out the stick. Holt Gillies has been throwing his weight around this season, and it's certainly a good thing to see. And understands the system very well. Asked by Gill this morning, does Holt Gillies understand the system better than a lot of the veterans that you have right now? And he says, yeah, absolutely. He played it all last year. So he actually, in many cases, does. You're hoping that the veteran Wild players catch up to him very quickly, though.
Sooner the better. Heatley got it back. Long pass, looking on the right wing side to Setaguchi.
Wow! What a save!
We'll step away for just a moment. Getting late in this one. Tied at 1. This one. Step away for the inside. Getting late in this one. Tied at 1.
Crunch time here in St. Paul, Minnesota, and Edmonton tied at 1. Stay with us after the game for a scintillating performance of Wild Live presented by CenturyLink. We'll take a look at Matt Cullen's fast start both tonight and on the season. Russ Walls will take you onto the ice and our instruction will deal with puck placement on the dump end to create that forecheck that Mike Yeo loves. And speaking of Mike Yeo, you're going to want to stick around here what the coach has to say about his team's performance tonight. That's all on Wild Live presented by CenturyLink. 1-1 boys down the stretch. Take us home.
Oh, here we go. Wild have been fairly dominant here in the third period, but Bobby Bruin's been good. Here's Cullen. Cullen to Latendresse. Latendresse with a shot and another save for Javi Bulin. A glove save on that guy, Guillaume Latendresse.
Well, if it weren't for Javi Bulin, who has 29 saves in this game, this would be a very, very different game. And the Wild do a good job of getting it out of their own zone. Good stretch pass there all the way up the ice. Feeding the lanes and getting the shot on goal. That is just a very well set up rush by the Minnesota Wild, getting the puck up quickly, getting it north, as Mike Yeo likes to say, getting it to the centerman who drives the lane, gets it to the winger who gets a shot. I mean, very well established play, but Javi Bulin is not going to have any of it.
Loose puck, here's Belanger, and he shot it off the outside of the goalpost. He got a turnover in the high slot. Pretty good shot. And Backstrom, Javi Bulin.
And Javi Bulin
plays it to the corner. Turns it back in. Colton Gillies to Clutterbuck. Clutterbuck will leave it in the corner. Schultz will step up and get it. Schultz tied up by Belanger. Belanger, and once again, a puck dumped in front of their own goal, that time by Schmid. And this time it works as they got it out to Ryan Smith. and he dumped it into the Minnesota zone. Scandella to Heatley. Heatley off the boards, ahead to Setaguchi. Sidesteps Cam Barker, dumps it in deep. Taylor Hall turning away from Koivu, ran into Setaguchi. Now Koivu got by Hall. Koivu goes to the right side. Spurgeon moving in with a shot. Deflection wide of the goal.
Defender of the save!
Chasing. Lost it. Picked up. Nugent Hopkins left side. He'll turn back. Koivu will pick up that bouncing puck. Chipped away from him. Hall and Scandella after it. Marco pulled that one away. Scandella with a nice move and an outlet pass. They're ahead now to Heatley. Has it stripped away. Gets it back. Heatley in the high slot. Can't gain control.
Got Gilbert reaching on that one.
There's a turnover. A quick shot on goal by Latendresse. And a stop there. I don't think he got all of that.
It's the element of surprise when you forecheck and the puck gets turned over, and that's what's tough for goaltenders. Watch this. Petrie goes up the ice, it's intercepted, and then there's the shot. I mean, that all happened in a couple of seconds. Javi Boulin's been very good making those look harmless, but I'll tell you one thing, and there's the shot. I mean, that all happened in a couple of seconds. Javi Boulin's been very good making those look harmless, but I'll tell you one thing, if you all happened in a couple of seconds, Javi Boulin's been very good making those look harmless, but I'll tell you one thing, I mean, that all happened in a couple of seconds. Javi Boulin's been very good making those look harmless, but I'll tell you, Javi Boulin's been very good making those look harmless, but I'll tell you one thing, if you weren't on like you were tonight, the Wild would be easily up in this match.
Shooting the Oilers 12-1 here in the third period. And the one they run is the one that gets behind Javi Boulin, and they've only got 3:40 left to do that. Game 4. Lander kept that one away from Stoner. Tom Gilbert steps up, knocks it down into the corner, comes free to Cullen, sends it around. There's Bouchard. They were pinching from the point, so he's happy just to clear it out. Horkoff has it, waiting for his teammates to get onside. Now dumps it in. With Stoner sending it around. Bouchard has it. Bouchard chips one across to the near boards. Stoner has it. Stoner leads it ahead. Banked in by Matt Cullen. Bouchard will chase it down and whistle down offside, apparently.
Offside. The penalty.
Cullen having a little
67 stoppages.
Talking match there with one of the Oilers.
It looks like a guy's going to be going to the face-off. Cullen was talking to the referee and times trying to figure out why something happened, but I'm sure he was asking why the face-off is where it is. But the Wild have done a great job in this game of
cross to the near boards. Stoner has it.
Stoner has it.
Banked in by
What a save!
Whistle down offside.
Nikolai Javi Boulin.
Get along to celebrate his 263rd victory. Just when the Flames get control, but trying to, instead of keeping that puck on the boards, he chips to the front of net, and Horkoff gets a great scoring opportunity. Nikki Kiprusoff comes up with a big save already in this game, so I think he's ready to play.
David Moss between a Gillen Tanguay out there with Belanger. Moss wins the drop. Smith back
inside, apparently. Bouchard will chase it down.
100 volume group image.
Whistle down offside, apparently.
No item in units keyboard shirt.
Another offside call.
Cullen having a little shoving and talking match there with one of the Oilers.
it looks like a guy's going to be going to the face-off. I think Cullen was talking to the referee and sometimes trying to figure out why something happened, but I'm sure he was asking why the face-off is where it is, but the Wild have done a great job in this game of getting the puck up ice.
Everly trying to drag, move it didn't work. Shilitsky just clears the zone. Steele, Bronte gloved it, knocked it down, trying to gain control. Knocks it back behind. Cut off there by Pekka. Pekka can't get it out. Howe takes it. Howe will send it around behind. There's Bronte into the near corner. He's tied up there by Schmid. it right back deep in the zone. Wild will change here. Here comes Cal Clutterbuck, the lone forechecker. Wild turns the change behind Clutterbuck. Gilbert to center. Dumps it in. Neatly trying to knock it back out. Right point, Sutton. Sutton waits, he shoots well wide of the goal. A hard, low shot, but he missed the mark. Gilbert trying to keep it in, he could not. Heatley trying to gain control, he could not get control.
Just didn't have any speed. He was flat-footed when he got that puck as it snuck by Sutton.
Under 2 minutes now remaining here in this third period.
This game 4.
Up by Spurgeon, he'll chase it down at the other end. Wild will practice here tomorrow and then host the Detroit Red Wings on Saturday night. Spurgeon
2 games.
ahead to Cullen. Got by Matt Cullen's stick. To the near wall, played back by Hall. Smead has it. Cullen chasing. Smead rotates it around. Peckham up through the left wing side, looking to center. Gets his way to the line, dumps it in. Stoner to Zanin. Hit there by Nugent Hopkins. Got by Taylor Hall. Hall is hit and knocked down by Stoner along the boards. Nugent Hopkins. Hand pass, I believe. We'll stop that with a minute even. 1 minute exactly remaining here in the third period.
Mike Yo has to be pleased with the way the team responded after going down 1-0 in this game. Little time spent watching some of the speed of the Oilers early in the game, but they really responded back the other way and have dominated this game. I'd say 2/3 of this game, but still have the tie game to contend with.
Powell puts it on goal. This time Javi Bulin dropped it.
Time spent watching some of the speed of the Oilers early in the game, but they really responded back the other. Little time spent watching some of the speed of the Oilers early in the game, but they really responded back the other way and have dominated this game. I'd say 2/3 of this game, but still have the tie game to contend with.
Powell puts it on
tie
goal.
game
This time Javi
headed for
Bulin
overtime for the
dropped it.
first time here in the
He
playoffs.
hasn't done that much tonight. Long pass redirected into the corner. Gilbert and Powell go in. Comes Brodziak. Brodziak looking, dumps it into the slot. Clutterbuck was there and handcuffed him by Clint Schultz. Schultz was tucked back in behind. Brodziak taking off the puck by Gilbert. Here's a chance for Clutterbuck. Trying to get it over to Darryl Powell. Zudlicki out at center. 20 seconds remaining in the third period.
The Minnesota Wild
hit by Gilbert. Gilbert moves it to the Minnesota line. Schultz moves it back ahead. Brodziak sends it in deep. Heatley on the forecheck. Gilbert along the board. Knocked down by Setaguchi. 3 seconds left. Into the corner. They all converge. And the puck is cleared out of the corner. And we're heading to overtime. Shortly, and of course,
20 minutes.
the boys are going to discuss
Stoner comes in defense of Setaguchi as Peckham tried to take some liberties in the corner.
Intermission.
Stoner comes in defense of
The fourth
Setaguchi
period.
as Peckham tried to take some liberties in the corner.
We're going to head to another one.
Some liberties in the corner.
And if they don't score again,
they're gearing up for what should be a very exciting overtime period.
in overtime
5 minutes of
period.
4-on-4.
4-on-4, 20 minutes.
Time period. 5 minutes of 4-on-4.
After
See what happens next.
in the intermission.
Now take a look at our temp star of the game.
Well, with 33 saves and many of them of the difficult variety,
54 saves.
Nikolai Khabibulin has been exceptional this evening. The Wild quite clearly should have had a regulation win in this one. A lot of the chances were deflections, or wraparounds, and the Oilers were giving away the puck on many occasions. I mentioned earlier the element of surprise of turning the puck over and having another team shoot it on the net makes it even more difficult for a goaltender Hobby Boolin, even though a couple of those giveaways were off his own stick. He's come through in flying colors. 4-on-4 now in the overtime, and this is where speed kills.
4 for 20 minutes.
Janitsky, Schultz, Koivu, and Heatley on the ice.
Speed kills.
Smith,
Janitsky, Schultz, Koivu, and
Bouchard,
Heatley on the ice for Minnesota.
on the ice for Minnesota
Oilers,
for the 20-minute overtime. And here we go.
Gilbert has the puck right now.
First time
He's paired up defensively with Cam Barker.
this playoff
who's being
series.
chased behind the goal by Danny Heatley. Now to Tom Gilbert. Gilbert in the middle to Horkoff. Almost picked off by Koivu. Chipped ahead to Mikko Koivu. That's knocked away from Koivu by Barker. Koivu and Barker battle. Zhelitsky picks it up. He turns away from Payarvi. Koivu and Barker were dancing a little bit, and Koivu had to get out of the zone before it could be advanced. This Payarvi driving and dumps it in front. Comes out the other side to Mikko Koivu. Koivu and Heatley. They will advance. Koivu to Heatley. Heatley moves across the middle. Still has control. Heatley looking towards the goal. A little shake at the hash mark and sends it all the way around, and Eberle has it now for the Oilers.
Here is
Leads it across the line, and a return pass got by Eberle, and it's sticked aside by the goaltender Backstrom. Now here's Scandella. They'll change behind him, or at least somebody will, so he won't have anybody with him as he dumps it ahead down the left wing side. Picked up by Belanger. And Eberle. Eberle back up the middle. Belanger. Shot on goal. Stick save there by Backstrom. And now this is Clayton Stoner trying to look the other way. Tried to lead a pass through on the right wing side. Picked off by Eberle. It was intended for Bouchard. Eberle in the middle. Eberle with a shot over the top of the goal.
Nice little play there. He basically chipped it to himself. Threw it across the middle of the zone and caught up with it.
Setaguchi with a quick shot through Cam Barker's screen. At the point, Sander. Right side, Zhelitsky. He'll carry into the corner. Now stops, looking for help. Gets free. Zhelitsky turns, goes back down low. Being marked there by Nugent Hopkins. And the Oilers take over. Nugent Hopkins to the Minnesota line. Got it down low. Salmon. Cleverbuck plays it off the boards, but couldn't get it out. Gilbert put it right on Zannon's stick. Now Zhelitsky back to Zannon through center. Cleared ahead and out by Lander. Now a turnover. Here comes Cullen. Cullen has the only goal of the game for the Minnesota Wild. Cullen stick handling into the corner. Now turning back. Tried to get it back to the point, but he didn't have enough on it. And here come the Oilers back. Into the Minnesota zone. Hall. Knocked off the puck in the high slot. Here's puck led ahead. Here's Scandella to win, and he shoots
Scandella for the win.
That's the speed the Wild want to see from a young defender, and I think he drew a penalty. Scandella, what a great play by the Wild, though, to delay at the blue line and then just float into the middle. Scandella, we've seen him jump into the play, and it's a penalty shot here in overtime. Look at that. He gets his shot off. It goes off the post, but I think we're going to see a penalty shot, or are we? Is that what they're pointing to?
No, Hall is in the back.
Oh, boy, yeah. I figured he got the shot off. He shouldn't get a penalty shot, but there was a lot of pointing going on by a lot of players. I think they wanted one. That's for sure.
Was hanging around center.
Oh, yeah.
Threw me off.
Well, he was doing the Youngblood circle there for a little while.
This is a great opportunity. 4-on-3 for 2 minutes.
Scandella has a power play goal this season. His first of his NHL career. And it was by jumping into the play just like he did on this most recent play.
Koivu, Heatley, Setaguchi, and Zhelitsky on the ice for Minnesota. Koivu got his stick broken. That'll slow things down for a moment. Koivu coming in. He won't be able to. Puck led ahead. Here's Scandella to win. Able to get it back to the time. Hall. Knocked off the puck in the high slot. Here's puck led ahead. Here's Scandella to win, and he shoots out the way to the post.
Hold on for a minute. I think there was a challenge.
That's the speed the Wild want to see from the
challenge for the goal.
And I think he drew a penalty. And he shoots out. He hit the post. That's the speed the Wild
we
want to
thought
see
there was
from the young
2-1.
defender, and I think that's the speed the Wild
hang
want
on
to see
for a
from the young
second.
defender, and I think he drew a penalty. The Wild want to see from the shoots. Oh, he hit the post. That's the speed the Wild want to see from the young defender, and I think he drew a penalty. Scandella, what a great play by the Wild, though, to delay at the blue line and then just float one into the middle. Scandella, we've seen him jump into the play, and it's a penalty shot here in overtime. Look at that. He gets his shot off. It goes off the post, but I think we're going to see a penalty shot, or are we? Is that what they're pointing to? The hole is in the... Scandella, we've seen him jump into the play, and it's a penalty shot here in overtime. Look at that.
There was no challenges. Prior to the goal, and it was offside.
That lay at the blue line and then just float into the middle. Scandella, we've seen to delay. Scandella, what a great play by the Wild, though, to delay at the blue line and then just float one into the middle. Scandella, we've seen him jump into the play, and it's a penalty shot here in overtime. Look at that. Play at the blue line. See from the it goes off the post, but I think we're going to see the front of the net.
It's a great scoring opportunity. Nicky Kiprusoff comes up with a big save already in this game, so I think he's ready to play.
David Moss.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Between a Gimlin and Tangay.
Is that what they're pointing to?
Oh,
boy, yeah.
Oh, my
He got the shot off. He shouldn't get a penalty shot, but there's a lot of pointing going on by a lot of players. Oh, boy, yeah.
David Moss.
I figured he got the shot off. He shouldn't get a penalty shot, but there's a lot of pointing going on by a lot of players. What 3 minutes there was a goal?
NHL October 13th. Let's see. It was a 2-1. There was goal offside.
Play keyboard shortcut A button. Next keyboard shortcut shift plus. Play keyboard shortcut A button. Next key. Nope. Play keyboard shortcut. Plus keyboard shortcut A button. Next keyboard shortcut.
West Division battle. Loose puck knocked down by Brodziak, out of Karva, and Nick Schultz.
Next keyboard shortcut.
For Edmonton. Wow. And here we go from Axel in Minnesota, and that is out to Brodziak, out of Karva on the wing.
Slider, 0 minutes, 37 seconds. 1 hours, 1 minute, 43 seconds. 1 hours, 11 minutes, 40. 1 hours, 11 minutes, 49. 1 hour.
Koivu, one time.
Slider, 1 hours, 1 hours, 12 minutes. 1 hour, 1 hours, 1 hours, 12 minutes. 1 hours, 12 minutes.
With their forecheck, that's exactly what Michael wanted to see. But now you have to finish it on the other end of it.
On the ice.
Wild out shooting.
This hockey game,
Play
because
keyboard
they're
shortcut.
creating chances with their forecheck. That's exactly what Michael wanted to see.
Just
But now
overtime
you have to
period.
finish it on the other end of it.
Wild out shooting the Oilers 8-1.
Because they're creating chances with their forecheck. That's exactly what Michael wanted to see. But now you have to finish it on the other end of it.
Wild out shooting the Oilers 8-1 so far this period. 15,878.
We now get to finish it on the other end of it. Check. That's exactly what Michael wanted to see. But now you have to finish it on the other end of it.
Wild out shooting the Oilers 8-1 so far.
Play keyboard. Next keyboard shortcut. Play keyboard shortcut A button. 1 hour. 1 hours 30. 1 hours 31 minutes.
By Backstrom and the Buckers. The bubble by Danny.
Makes it even more difficult for a goaltender and for Bobby Boone. Even
Early in it down the for Bouchard for help. The only goal of the game. Oh, the hole is in the box.
Oh, boy, yeah. I figured he got the shot off. He shouldn't get a penalty shot, but there was a lot of pointing going on. Figured he got the shot off. He shouldn't get a penalty shot, but there was a lot of pointing going on by a lot of players.
And what threw me was
I think they wanted one, that's for sure.
was hanging around center ice.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of threw me off. But, well,
he was doing the Youngblood circle there for a little while.
This is a great opportunity. 4-on-3.
Great opportunity.
2 minutes.
Scandella has a power play goal this season. His first of his NHL career. And it was by jumping into the play just like he did on this most recent play.
Koivu, Heatley, Setaguchi, and Shimitsky on the ice for Minnesota. Koivu got his stick broken. That'll slow things down for a moment. Koivu coming in. He won't be able to keep that puck in near his broken stick. 2 minutes remaining in sudden death overtime. Wildwood have a man advantage for much of that. Heatley cuts across the middle. Leaves it back near the point. Tapped ahead to Setaguchi. Bouncing puck. Horkov flips it over to the far side. Nobody over there but Schmid. And he'll send it all the way down. Zhidlitsky in the first line of the 4 skaters on the ice for Minnesota. Here's Devin Setaguchi. The crowd trying to fire up his team. Trying to find a way to get this second point out of here.
Second point. They're trying to make it 3 games to 1.
Heatley, shot off the side of the goal. Setaguchi trying to pull that one out of his skates. Heatley is waiting. Setaguchi comes free. Setaguchi across. Zhidlitsky turns. He shoots. Knocked wide. Might have been by Heatley. Here's Setaguchi. Being pressured by Jones. Setaguchi. Heatley's in front. Setaguchi. There's a shot. Oh, and it's one time. It's just partially fanned out by Nico Koivu. A minute left to go. 37 in the power play.
Wild have yet to get one on goal here on this power play, even though they've had some
bouncing puck. Horkov flips it over to the far side. Nobody over there but Schmid. There's back. Zhidlitsky. That goes all the way through the backsman. He'll glove it to keep it. Spending some time here for the Wild.
Point of the hockey game, Oilers lead. Also missed some time this year.
Wild trying to turn this around at center ice. Heatley with it, double team, got rid of it to Koivu. Back out to the point quickly. Spurgeon moves in. He shoots off a deflection right past Heatley on the rebound. Held in. Scandella shoots. Glove save. Habibul, and he'll keep it.
The Wild are starting to do the things that are going to.
He shoots off a deflection right past Heatley on the out to the point quickly. Spurgeon moves in. He shoots off a deflection right past Scandella shoots. Glove save. Habibul.
Glove save by Habibul.
A lot of the point men. There aren't a lot of the Wild point men who have what you call bombs for shots, but it doesn't always take that. And who have what you call bombs for shots, but it doesn't always take that to score goals. Sometimes the Wild are starting to do the.
Spurgeon moves in. Heatley with it. Double team. Got rid of it to Koivu. Back out to the point. Spurgeon moves in. He shoots off a deflection.
And Tom Reddy's going to play.
Backman's been had a pretty Heatley on the rebound. Held in. Scandella shoots. Glove save. Habibul.
Glove save by Habibul. 57 saves. 4-3 is the first overtime.
Into the preseason as well, we talked about it. That's basically just getting pucks to the net. It creates more chances right there. The flexion. Scandella wiring as well.
This just didn't start here tonight. This goes back to the seasons and point men really coming
right there. About it. That's basically just getting pucks to the net. It creates more chances right there. The flexion. Scandella wiring one into the preseason as well. We talked about it. That's
Rinsetter talked about the role of LeBron.
Scandella shoots.
Really coming at that point becomes a lot more
just getting pucks to the net. It creates more chances right there. The flexion. In front, Scandella wiring one as well.
The game to make an impact.
Rinsetter talked about the role of
a
LeBron.
lot
He
of
says
the
he has
Wild
to play
point
smart.
men
He
who
knows
have
his role is he
what you
can't
call
run around.
bombs for
We
shots.
saw him wanting to get
doesn't
engaged
always
with
take
that
that to score goals. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting into the net, getting a deflection, getting a rebound. So good to stress.
Slow play. Back and get it. He was acting change on the fly. Dobbins on Peckham. Stops, looks, Boston. So does zone.
On both those plays from either side of the net, you saw Backstrom challenge the shooter, and they're just tossing it to the front of the net. They're hoping that some more net front presence like Ryan Smith had will help.
Ryan Smith with a wrist shot, and that one's stopped by the glove of Nicholas Backstrom. And the Oilers come out energized here in the second period. Chances were even in the first 20 minutes, 5-aside.
With 16 minutes
shots on goal favored
left in the
Oilers,
first overtime.
12-9 through 1.
Tied at 1.
Close. Greg Zanin leads it around to Stoner, taps it ahead to Nico Koivu, and the Wild captain sends it in deep. Around on the boards, it got by, but it's held in by Zanin behind for Heatley and Fredford. Setaguchi with a shot. Koivu with a backhand that goes just wide of the goal. Around on the boards, it got by, but it's held in by Zanin behind for Heatley and Fredford. Setaguchi with a shot. Koivu with a backhand that goes just wide of the goal. Now Heatley battling with Everly along the far boards. In comes Koivu, it bounces free across the blue line where Clayton Stoner picks it up. Koivu had a poke checked away. Everly leads it out left side. There's Ryan Smith. Tried to dump it in deep, didn't get it in deep. And then Spurgeon fanned on his attempt to lead it ahead to Latan Dress. And that just slowed down that play completely where the Wild take over. Here's Jared Spurgeon with the loose puck again. Bouchard and Smead going down.
Bouchard
and Smead position at Bouchard, so it'll be an icy call here against the Wild. Goal.
Good to see these guys back together. Guillaume Latendresse, Pierre-Marc Bouchard, of course, coming off the suspension. And Matt Cullen said to me that before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard reminds him of Ray Whitney, a guy he used to play with in Carolina when they won the Stanley Cup. He says he's the kind of guy who can really buy a lot of time for you and dish the puck off you. So Cullen, I think, could have a very good comeback here like he wanted to have, playing alongside Latendresse and Bouchard.
Latendresse working the back wall. Bouchard only played in the one game against Columbus, and he did have 2 assists in that opening night game right here at XL Energy Center. Long pass ahead to Pierre-Marc Bouchard, just lays it in the zone. Gilbert comes back to get it. Gilbert trying to get away from Bouchard, sends it up along the boards, held in at the point, dumped back into the far corner. Good play across the way. As the puck is dumped in, a big hit in the corner by Latendresse, but the puck ends up back in the Minnesota zone, and Schultz gets back, touches it up, and an icing call here against the Oilers.
Against the Oilers, 14
Guillaume Latendresse, and Dan, you spoke about it a little bit earlier, and Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Latendresse, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get in front of him, and Latendresse continues to use that size. And we did say that he lost a little bit of weight and is in very good shape this season.
Setaguchi in the steal,
but he didn't lose so much that he's not still effective with that size.
Well, he's got a little bit lower center of gravity than Andy Sutton. And that sometimes plays to your advantage.
So what you're saying is he can easily submarine him anytime he wants.
Yeah. Sutton's 6'6". Guillaume.
Daryl Sedor having a chat with him. Daryl Sedor was a defenseman, but he certainly knows plenty about forwards, having faced them. 18 years in the National Hockey League. Most of them with the Dallas Stars, a couple Stanley Cups, including one with Bobby Boulin in Tampa Bay.
Here's Belanger into the Minnesota zone. Belanger fanned on a centering attack. Now Petrell in the corner. Knocked away from him to the near side. Sutton stepped up. Payarvi has it.
Stepped up.
Litzky and Payarvi battle on the backboard. Koivu comes
never
in.
scored a goal.
Picked off by Nico Koivu. Koivu to Setaguchi. Setaguchi to the boards. Jones keeps it in. He's hit there by Heatley. Bouncing puck, and where to go? It ended up in the Oiler bench and out of play.
Well, Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa. And he fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the makings of some very creative plays.
He was booed a lot. Second most player that was booed was Sergei Gonchar, and he played for Ottawa. So figure that one out.
Well, the Wild did make a thing for Dallas because I like him as a person, but just at this point in time did not fit into the Wild's plan.
Trigger mark Bouchard, first one back to Bouchard after suspension. Litzky fires it into the slot. 14 is going up there. First overtime. Has the puck now. Makes a move towards. Back to the point. Zelinsky had that blocked by Ryan Smith. Again by Smith, but it goes right to Koivu. Koivu battling there with Smith. It bounces free. Here's Bouchard moving in with a shot, and he broke his stick right in the middle of the shaft on the slap shot. Here's Heatley now without a defender there. Now Heatley controls long enough for Bouchard to get a new stick into the slot, and he tried to bounce one over to Setaguchi, and he bounced it over the blade of the former Shark stick. Now Setaguchi moving in. Setaguchi shoots, and a shot by Habibulin. Another big stop.
Nikolai Habibulin.
Saturday, and that win over Columbus. He wins the draw. Clutterbuck along the boards, tied up by Gilbert, ahead to Belanger, and cleared backhander all the way down the ice. 25 minutes, seconds that is to go in the penalty tag to Theo Peckham. This is Spurgeon. Weaving his way to center. Sends it in. And the Wild are on outside. Tag up. Bucky shot out of play. Off a deflection, they're saying. It's tougher to defend against. Playing the best, deflected back to Jared Spurgeon, who settles things down. Spurgeon with a quick give and go there. Ahead to center, now through the neutral zone into the Edmonton end of the rink. Tom Gilbert has it. Cullen takes it away. Cullen had slide off his stick. Clutterbuck has it. Now Clutterbuck tried to return it to Cullen. Picked off. Here's Hall. Taylor Hall left side. He fires a shot that rises over the shoulder of Backstrom and off the back glass. Here's Cullen in the corner. To Xander. Helps it along. Pinching inside. Now Clutterbuck tried to return it to Cullen. Picked off. And it slide. Clutterbuck has it. Now Clutterbuck tried to return it to Cullen. Picked off. Here's Hall. Taylor Hall left side. He fires a shot that rises over the shoulder of Backstrom and off the back glass. Here's Cullen in the corner. To Xander. Helps it along. Pinching in at the point is Cam Barker. Cam Barker signed here in the summer. July 1st as a free agent after spending some time here for the Wild. One season, 71 games. At the Wild blue line, long wrist shot goes all the way through to Backstrom. His glove and keep it.
The Red Wings come to town, get easy.
Spurgeon moves in. He shoots off a deflection right past Heatley on the rebound.
12 minutes left to go in
shoots.
overtime.
Glove save. Habibulin. Now comes loose Dannon. Dannon leads it ahead. Bouchard one times it out to Cullen. Now across the line.
Here it is. Oh, good save by Habibulin.
Now comes loose to Cullen. Cullen with Stoner. Cullen waiting, fires, shoots, he scores!
Save!
No, he did the 2004. Colton Gillies with it, leads it out nicely to Kyle Brodziak, the former Oiler, gets to center, dumps it in. Clutterbuck on the chase. Habibulin stop and will fight Minnesota at this point.
In the 1-2-2.
And the time of puck possession has been a huge increase since the early portions of this game. Peckham.
Wild working the 1-2-2 there very nicely. You see the Oilers did not have an easy time getting out of the zone. And
away, pumps it back, led ahead on the right side. Koivu trying to poke it around.
No idea.
Sutton dumps it back behind his own goal. Tom Gilbert was there. Former Jefferson Jaguar sends it through the neutral zone. Zelinsky turned it over, picked up by Nugent Hopkins. Hall on the back wall.
We're halfway to overtime.
Koivu trying to get it from Nugent
Still
Hopkins.
tied up one.
Hall has it. Hall sends it back to the
Game
point. But Devin
4
Setaguchi
of the
picked it
Stanley
off.
Cup playoffs.
Setaguchi to center.
First round series.
Got Heatley on one wing. His poke checked away. Koivu had already gone to the bench.
Poke checked away.
Numbered on the play. Dumped out into the high slot. Now flipped right back to the corner by Eberle. He loses an edge and goes down. Leg pass ahead. Now here comes Heatley, still on the ice. Banks it ahead into the zone. Setaguchi in on the forecheck. Heatley goes to the bench. Little bouncing puck. Knocked back into the corner by Pierre-Marc Bouchard. Bouchard ridden off by Tom Gilbert. Good physical play by Tom Gilbert. Sutton has the puck. Now to Belanger. And now flipped ahead into the Minnesota zone. We started this game with a pretty good pace. It has not let up really at all, has it?
It's been the kind of skating game that we've seen in the past between these two clubs. The difference is the Wild are now also a skating team, so it makes for a good flow in a hockey game.
Brodziak fakes the shot, drives in, puts a wrist shot on goal. Juggled a bit there by Hobby Booling, but he hangs on. Matt Cullen. Sutton has the little bouncing puck. Back into the corner by Pierre. And cycling there for that Cullen line. Bouchard.
9 minutes left to overtime.
Setaguchi has it as a partial line change is underway. Back to Pierre-Marc. Nugent Hopkins down. Puts it back down low. Lander is there. Nugent Hopkins picks it up, dumps it in front, looking for Taylor Hall. Back to Peckham at the point. Sends it into the corner, off the boards, off the back of the goal. Checked on the back wall there by Sandin, and it's flipped ahead to Setaguchi. Took a nice bounce to Devin Setaguchi, waiting for help. Drop pass, hits it to Koivu. Mikko in front. Heatley is there, but it's deflected by Danny Heatley. Here comes Hall. It's bounced to Devin Setaguchi, waiting for help. Drop pass, hits it to Koivu. Mikko in front. Heatley is there.
What a save by Hobby Booling. 60.
Taylor Hall lost it, picked up. Heatley ahead now to Mikko Koivu. Koivu. It's on the brakes, into the slot. Heatley with a shot
6
in
minutes
traffic.
between
Loose puck in front. They can't get to the loose puck. Out in front, Sneed. And who's Achilles just tackled in front of the goal. Looked like he was just pinning him to the ice. Sneed has it for Edmonton. Long pass ahead across the Minnesota line to Eric Belanger. Belly's been around a little bit. North Carolina, Minnesota, then Washington, Phoenix, and now Edmonton. Dumped in by Clutterbuck. Hobby Booling ran into traffic behind the goal. That was Brodziak. Smith has it. He's hit there by Bowman. And then a hit along the boards by Clutterbuck.
Seems like every time Hobby Booling gets behind the net, there's problems.
Good aggressive shift by the Wild. Through center, dumped off now for Tom Gilbert. Gilbert tried to center off a deflection. It goes in front of the Minnesota goal to the corner. Belanger and Stoner go in after. Belanger dumps it behind. Ryan Smith centers up in the air. It's deflected to the corner. And now Stoner has it. Sees his man, that's Brodziak. Brodziak waiting. Dumps it ahead off of Clutterbuck. Cam Barker off the boards out to center. Payarvi is there. Knocked away by Brodziak. Wild doing a change right in front of their own bench.
And I think they're going to get too many men on the ice as Clutterbuck was late on the change. And I think the player coming on either played it or was close enough to it.
Front of their own bench.
I think they're going to get too many men on the ice as Clutterbuck was late on the change. And I think the player coming on either played it or was close enough to it.
That's 7 minutes between stoppages.
Wild and Oilers even at one.
I think they're going to get too many men on the ice as Clutterbuck was late on the change.
6.5 minutes left.
Player coming on
the first
either played
overtime.
it or was close enough to it.
We'll be back. Let you know.
Player coming on either played it or was late on the change. And I think the puck at the last second decided to play it. Stobbins is already on the ice. So that's too many men, and there's Clutterbuck hopping the boards, but that's just a little miscommunication. Stobbins was anticipating Clutterbuck coming off, and I think Clutterbuck just felt that the puck was there. He didn't realize Stobbins had already jumped the boards.
Well, it gives the Oilers their first power play of this game. Their power play in the only other game this season was that against Pittsburgh. They were over 5 Wild. Brodziak with a nice steal out of center ice.
The crowd was going wild. The crowd goes wild.
The Oilers will see what they can do with their first chance with the man advantage. Sandin got it through traffic all the way down. side. Do it again, bouncing in. Bobby Moore into play. Bouchard down to a minute to serve. He's serving the too many men penalty.
5.5 minutes left to go.
Wild swept all 6 meetings with the Oilers last season. Shot to the point. That got through. And Backstrom got run down.
30 minutes.
The penalty.
It's Ryan Smith.
Scoring.
And, even if Smith was pushed, he's just notorious for running into goaltenders, and he does it again.
As the puck is touched there by Ryan Smith, he will turn around and head towards the penalty box.
And he always plays after the fact when the stick gets pushed, but he certainly doesn't. Oh no, he wasn't even. I thought he might have been shoved a bit, but no, he wasn't even close. He was ramming down. I mean, that's. And then Backstrom's not exactly 4 feet on top of his crease. I mean, he is basically standing with his heels on the edge of the crease, and Smith just steamrolls him. And as I said, Ryan Smith's notorious for doing that. He's a guy who plays very, very solidly in front of goaltenders usually, and he has the lone goal for the Oilers by doing just that. But normally you don't want to steamroll a goaltender right in front of the referee.
There's a quick chance for Petrell playing his first NHL game.
Petrell!
Is that a case of not knowing where he is?
By Nikolai Hamilton to make 62.
Ryan Smith knows exactly where he is. I think it's a little. I don't know. It's not so much not caring. I think he just felt that if he could rush in front of Backstrom a little bit, take a piece of his glove and maybe his mask and throw him off, that's a good way to get yourself a goal. But he got a little too much. Backstrom may have been moving out a little bit to cut down the angle. But it's a player's responsibility to stay out of the goal.
Ready for the goal. Where is it? It scores! And the crowd goes wild! 2-1 in overtime! The Minnesota Wild extend the series at 3-1! Heading for game 5.
Thank you, Butcher. 6 sliders left. 1 hour 35 minutes. 1 hour 39 minutes. 1 hour 40.
Straight in, slows down, and then whips one in the high shelf. I'm going to win. Backstrom with the save. It was not easy, but the Wild get the win here over the Edmonton Oilers.
Play that. How to play
To extend the series, 3 unanswered wins.
Horkoff started right, went to the middle. Wanted to go to a quick forehand shot. Waited, thought that he could get it around, but Backstrom got that right leg out and cut off any chance for Sean Horkoff. And more importantly, maybe you have a goaltender now with a little more confidence in the shootout, Anthony. So, like I said, it was not easy against this young Oiler team, but they worked their way through it, got the 2 points.
And a great night for Nicholas Backstrom, who
So, like I said, it was not easy against this young Oiler team, but they worked their way through it, got the 2 points.
Dog stopped 3 of 4 tonight to make a winner out of the Wild. We'll take another look at Matt Cullen's quick start. 3 of 4 final score to make a winner out of the Wild.
Wild 2,
we'll take another look at Matt Cullen's quick start next on Wild Live. A winner out of the Wild. We'll take another look at Matt Cullen's quick start next on Wild Live.
Take it away.